chooses who should be his ministers, and even goes ahead to choose who should be his deputy ministers. Even as the Constitution has said that deputy ministers must be chosen in consultation with the minister. I can tell you, without any doubt, that no minister has been consulted ever as to who should be his or her deputy before somebody is put there. Because I remember one time I spoke to one of the ministers, and I said, but the Constitution says you should. He said, did I ask him whether they have consulted him or anybody even called him before somebody has been put as his deputy? Because he and his deputy could not work the way we expected them to work. There was always tension. And then I was curious, and I said, but you were supposed to be consulted. You are consulted before they appointed. And he said, yes, that is what the Constitution says, but have you asked me whether indeed I was consulted? And so the president has the sole power to appoint. And the president determines who and who should work together. And it is for you to adjust your way of doing things so that you can work together. Even in doing so, in most instances, the president will tell you, if you are a deputy minister and you want to go and undermine your minister, you will have trouble with me, the president. And so the president has sole responsibility of choosing who should be. When it comes to chief executives for corporate institutions, the president again appoints everyone. The president, in gallivanting and traversing the length and breadth of this country, seeking for votes, has gone around many constituencies and knows who is capable of serving in his government. So when the president comes and say, and this is what they do all the time, they tell you, we want a committee to be put in place so that the committee can help us to identify ABC. Look at credentials, so people submit their documents. In the Upper West region, where we need only 11 DCs, or MMDCs, 11, we have 129 applicants. Wow. 129 applicants.
Including a very good friend of mine, Dukanaba.
You understand? Who in the Upper West region alone, just 11 people, we need 11 people to become DCs. 129 applicants have applied to become DCs. And as somebody will say, the fact that we are in the same political party does not mean that we are in the same stomach. And therefore, whilst we are there, we must all compete for the thing, irrespective of whether I'm capable or not, because there is no jobs in the system. So everybody wants to become one. Some of them, it's just the mere fact that they want to occupy because they have nothing to do. So they want to become MMDC. And this is what is going on. The president has created a chaotic situation. And I do know, particularly for Greater Accra, where Frank Davis is supposed to be one of the persons, or the person proposed to come and lead the so-called vetting committee in the Greater Accra.
That very good lawyer.
Yeah, that lawyer, who is seen as independent in his mind and will go and probe and get the best for the various MMDCs. He's been sidelined.
Frank Davis.
Yeah, he's been sidelined. And the news I'm picking is that somebody I worked with, whose integrity any day I will have problems with, Kwesi Edumante, because I worked with him at the LOC for the African Cup of Nations, which hosted the tournament in Accra. And I have my problems with him because of the kind of things that occurred, which are not for public consumption now. So I'm hearing that he is being preferred, and even knowing majority of people who know him will already have, and he contested the Adentan seat, the primaries of the MPP. And then he lost to your MP, your communications director.
Yeah, what we have someone.
Yeah. So,
you mean Edumante?
Yes. Okay. He contested the Adenta parliamentary seat. And so this is the person you are preferring to come and lead.
That's not the one. I think maybe it's rather the former Owusu
member.
Oh, okay, okay. So he's the one they are preferring to come and lead these processes. And this is terrible. You understand? So obviously, it means they are going to deny. And I'm sad for my brother anyway.
Who?
Sabo.
Oh.
Sabo is one of the persons who has worked tirelessly.
No, that one, yes.
You understand? For the New Patriotic Party. At the time when the New Patriotic Party was struggling in Greater Accra, he held the Greater Accra as the acting regional secretary, put two together, and led the party to the victory and eventually stayed the party in government. At a time when it was difficult for people to even go out to speak for the party because of the poor performance of Nana Akufo-Addo and the MPP. Sabo has always been here, fighting and talking. There were stations that the MPP people will not go. You know that. Mm. He will find himself there to defend the MPP. Sometimes in very, you can see that he gets uncomfortable. In fact, between me and Sabo, Sabo nearly beat me in this studio. How do you remember? On 2 occasions, he nearly beat me because of his passion for his party. When it was time for Sabo to be elected as regional secretary, they used a tribal cat to whip him out.
Oh, but I think it's still...
I'm saying that they shipped him out, you know. And that time, I think I said it, Alhaji ABA said it. That's Sabo.
Yeah, Honorable said it. I remember
but
Honorable
look,
said it.
You are a very good person, but you have found yourself in the wrong place. Today, Sabo is one of the most credible people that is gunning for the DCE. What are they doing?
People might think they are campaigning.
Why? There's nothing wrong with doing campaign. At the time when I did campaign for President Kufuor, did anybody complain? And so doing campaign, what I'm saying is that instead of looking at the competence, the energy that somebody put in place, they will go and use some other machinations to ship them out. Where I sit, as one of the MPP people put, Pegla Jr. put on his page, he said these processes are already predetermined. Some people did not even apply by themselves, but their names found their way onto the list. You understand? How did their names come onto the list when they claim that they did not apply? Because somebody has predetermined that I want to give somebody a position. And so they have put in people that they want. And so all these processes you people are doing, I can tell you that by now the list is the Minister for Local Government and Rural Development, that is Dambochi, because he will have to send the list to the president, and eventually the president will authorize him to circulate the list. So I'm not surprised that they will say that they are going through vettings and increase people's appetite for the job only to go and do the selected people that they want. I pray that these processes should go very bad because, oh yes, I pray that the processes should go very bad so as to cause a lot of disharmony within the New Patriotic Party. And if Sabo is leaving the New Patriotic Party because probably they would have treated him unjustly, my brother, we will welcome you in the PNC.
Right. So this is still the newspaper event. I mean, this is just the prelims to the topics that we have heralded for our conversation this morning. Honorable A.B. Husseini, I think you have to touch on this MMDC business before we come into action. As for Sabo, I won't allow him talk because it is his party. It is his party.
We will truly talk. Why?
I think I'll gag Sabo.
No,
okay, I'll let you talk, but let Honorable.
So I've let him talk.
No, Honorable, you start.
Yes, Kwame.
But you greet your bitch now, people. Go, we've started.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to do first, to greet your good self.
Okay.
Comrade Benamona for the friendly fire and the mischief you wanted to do about me this morning. And
Sound.
my comrade is
Sound.
that is, there's much wisdom in the saying that you see something that will bite you will come from your cloth. It's your brother inside who will bite you.
As J.J. Rollins will aptly put it, Abuano beka wanu frantoma.
Exactly. My brother Sabo, your technical people, the viewers of Pan Africa, and the indefatigable Burkina people of the Sanaro constituency.
And how give you breakfast this morning?
Oh, Ajia there, she has no size.
She gave you breakfast. For which reason you were a little
gives
late?
me every breakfast every day. Every day.
That is why you were late.
Breakfast.
Yeah, that's why you came in late.
Don't mind. That's the reason that he wanted to look.
He didn't get enough breakfast. That's why he's here early.
Yeah. Kwame.
Oh no, yes.
They say if you are suffering in hell, blame them. You see, Kwame, we have so cheapened and denigrated our politics to a level where service to the people, and especially Kwame, service with integrity, Because you see, today people see the office of the district chief executive or the MCE not as an instrument for service, but a job for self-aggrandizement, a job for making money, for holding power and using power for personal aggrandizement. They are not seeing it as an opportunity to serve the good people of those districts that they are vying for. And so, Kwame, I can say without any iota of doubt that this monster that we have bred will come back and consume us. Today, Kwame, they say that, you see, before the mouse jumps from the top of the rafter of your roof, you have weighed the shock absorbers of the waste before taking that plunge. Today, when they say this in a DC or other thing is open, it's open at Bagbaja. And because they sometimes some people feel that there are other influencing factors, because there are rumors. Kwame, go back and remember. You remember in the days when there was a quarrel even between Buri Nabu and Honorable Buri Nabu, the former Northern Regional Chairman of the NPP, and Otiko Jaba. Remember that is in surrounding where even allegations were made about goats, cows,
yes, and
others being sent,
yes,
to influence people to be chosen as MMDCs. You remember that?
I recall, yeah.
Okay, I don't know about those ones. But so you see, Kwame, this gives you an indication where certain influences other than the competence and the ability to serve. You see, when you were talking about Sabostin, I told you, and I said it a long time ago, that you see, if an elder has no morsel of food to give you, he has a grain of wisdom to give you to guide you for some day. And that has been the stock of trade in the MPP. And especially from where he comes from. He is at a disadvantage. Because people are credited with doing all the hard work. You do all the hard work. But yet when the glory comes, you find somebody else. Unfortunately. But that is how it is. So Kwame, today, you have this. How can you get one district? Kwame, in my Sanaro district, for example, they are saying that about 31 people. Sanaro district alone for the position of the MCE. The northern region, they are in several hundreds. Okay? So you just ask yourself, what is the rationale? What is propelling this? And in the individual parties and others, is there no mechanism for ensuring that some degree of sanity can be instilled in that race? Even before you talk about even going for MMDCs, you have developed a criteria by which there can be sanity even in the numbers that we are hearing. So Kwame, the panacea for hunger, I've always said, is not to hold physics in your stomach. It's to go look for food to eat. So Kwame, the answer, the panacea for this madness on this MMDC front, Kwame, is for us to go for that election of the MMDC. You remember, Kwame? One of the promises of Nana Akufo-Addo, today he has gone. Before he came in 2016 with Somihwe. Musomihwe. And Kwame, my tree is not good. How do you say it?
Musomihwe.
Taste me and see. No, be so.
Be so.
Was
Matra Makwe.
Matra Makwe. Shimakanya. Be Lamemakanya.
Lamemakanya.
So you see that it was underlain. One of the promises on the local government front was that MMDCs will be elected, so that once the elective principle comes, Kwame, the competence and other matters that we are talking about will be brought to the fore, and the accountability issue, once you are elected, will no longer be to just the political appointee, but to the electorate, to the people of the district who voted for you. So that, for me, Kwame, is the effective panacea to this madness, this insanity, this political conundrum we are currently grappling with today, where all sorts of influences. I have seen people going around to conduct interviews because they say whole large numbers of people. And the people who should also be involved in this particular decision, as has been said, have been sidelined. Brothers here.
That's what Sabo
This all the greater donkey job. And when the glory comes, he's conspicuously missing.
Sabo.
You see, so Kwame, I told him that if you cure a monkey of his toothache, it will visit your corn farm. I've seen it today. So I've been advising him.
He should leave MPP and come to
NDC is his place. The day the Billy Ghost's leg is broken, it will find its way home. So that is the way home. Because I am telling you in all honesty. And like Benamona said, this is the beginning of chaos in the district. Because, Kwame, 31 people, you can choose only one. The rest of the 30 people, they won't get.
And they will be
nursing grievances.
Yeah.
They will even come out with allegations why this man got it and they didn't get. So they may come out very soon. Kwame, mark my words. We may meet here again to discuss it. You will hear flying allegations of money, material inducement, what and what and what. They will level all sorts of allegations, even when some of the things may not be true. Even when, Kwame, somebody is there, I tell you, even some of the competitors, if you write his name down and show it to him, he may not recognize it. But he's going for MMDC.
Right. It's interesting. Sabo.
Yes, Kwame.
Your party.
Kwame, let me take the opportunity to say good morning to our cherished viewers. And good morning to the good people of Owusu East, the New York of Ghana, and that of Tamale. Not forgetting of my elder brother. And I'm blessed. I have my elder brother on my right, my younger brother on my left.
When you say
Tamale, of course. Tamale, Sanargu is part of Tamale.
Understand? You told me that Sabo lives and comes from Tamale Central.
Yes, and that's what he's talking about.
No.
About his grandfather who
You see,
lives in Sanargu before.
Sanargu has just been carved out of the Tamil metropolis. It was part of Tamil metropolis. So Sanargu is part of.
It has been in Parliament
And it
for
has
how
been.
many years?
And Sanargus are good.
Sanargu, when you talk of tradition, he himself, he knows.
No, what I mean is that.
That is the center. Your grandfather is there. You are asking your father about his youth.
Is Gupena who is in charge of all these territories? Is that not it?
You know that Gupena is part of the Sanargu consensus.
That's what I'm saying. So when I say Tamale, it covers every part of
Including
Tamale.
Sagna.
Including Sagna. Yes. Oh, yeah. He's aware. He's aware. You know, he's aware.
Although we just wanted you to say Sagna, it's okay. They said that if you want to call to the attention of Honorable, just mention Sagna.
Oh, my grandfather, that's where the grave is. Yes, the one who gave birth to my father.
Right.
So I can never look down upon Sanargu. Kwame, it's sort of unfortunate. About 3 days ago, I lost one of my mothers.
Oh, sorry.
In fact, today is the final lesson. But yes, I'm also having exams to write. That's tomorrow. So it has actually. In fact, even that very day, I was writing a paper. The day the news came, I was writing a paper. And I'll take this medium to pray. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala so and grant Jannah to Firdaus. Kwame, to be frank with you, if Allah is going to follow our deeds, then most of us are not. In fact, almost all of us will not be qualified. Right? It's just by His mercy that we are seeking to enter Jannah.
Yeah, that's true.
And may Allah grant Jannah to Firdaus. Inshallah. Yes. And those who have traveled from long distances to the final funeral, may Allah take them safely and bring them back home safely. Inshallah. Kwame, the issue of this MMDC is, let me just do some lessons here. You see, the issue of ministers not being consulted before their deputies being appointed and the rest. Kwame, even in he's just the immediate past national chairman of the PNC. He's our even, and I believe he also did the same thing. Even in our party distance, when you go and contest an election and you win as maybe a party organizer, women organizer, and the rest, in their case, I think they contest for all those things. The deputies,
Normally, the women organizer is not consulted that we want to give you this deputy. But ideally, in fact, that would have been the case. So it is not something, and like you said earlier on, the president has the powers. That is why nobody can question the president. We are running a presidential system. Because now that whether things are, what do you call it, good or bad, the comments that will come, it is the president that everybody will be targeting, and not the various ministries. It is the president. So it is in the wisdom of the president to get somebody that he feels can actually fit into the ideologies that he has, and then the kind of things that he wants to propel as a nation. So that one, it is everywhere. Quite apart from that, the issue of the thing that my brother raised again, Frank Davis and then Honorable Edumante. I've had the opportunity to get a edition of it. I don't think, what I have heard is that what do you call it, Frank Davis has been proposed. But nobody has come out to say whether he's the one that they are going with or Honorable Edumante. But it's like people are hearing that they say that they have changed the name to Honorable Edumante. But I think the regional executive have come to debunk that there has never been anything of that sort. And Kwame, and even to add more to this, and as I speak right now, around 3 p.m. today, I mean, all of us will be, all those who are interested in the hotel, will be meeting at Royal Palm Beach Hotel for us to discuss the modalities of the vetting and the rest. But I believe that actually makes it a bit, what they call more democratic.
Right.
So that we all bring our views.
But they have already chosen the team that will lead the exercise in all the regions.
No. In the case of Greater Accra, it is not yet constituted. We only know that the regional...
Really?
Nationally, this is how it is. It is the regional ministers who are the chairmen or the chairs of the various committees in the regions. Then, now, they will get a regional rep. They will get a national rep. And they will get a constituency rep. That the constituency that you want to be the MC. Yes. So that I believe... looking at this and the nature of it will be like maybe your contributions in the parties and the rest, and going forward, like you said, your credentials and your capabilities, what you can bring to bear when you are given the opportunity. So I think we are not yet there.
Okay.
So I think that one will be done. Kwame.
Yes, my boss.
But in actual listen to when we talk of MMDC's issues in Ghana, I don't think there's any qualification apart from the age factor and then maybe criminal records. There's no any criteria or qualification. That's what I'm saying. Of course, thank you. And the psychological lesson of
But you must
the
be
person.
a Ghanaian, correct?
He must be a Ghanaian.
You must be
Yes.
of age.
Yes.
Sound mind.
Yes.
I can point a number of people.
Who are not of sound mind?
No, Kwame, I think a typical example is him. He himself.
I'm not going to be
Himself.
appointed. I'm talking about those who are going to be appointed.
In private matters. Bringing private matters into the public place. Why do you keep mentioning honorables?
And you deciding to embellish the private matters.
We are all mad people.
Kwame,
Yes, my boss.
I think the work of the MMDC is to bring governance at the local level.
Yes.
So I believe the wisdom that has informed the party leadership to make it open at the constituency level is that if you feel that you are fit to actually do this work at the local level, it is open. I think that makes it more democratic. So definitely, like my other brother, you get multitude of people trooping in because everybody believes in himself. But at this vetting lesson, that is where the pruning will be done. I hope you are getting me. Of course, maybe if I have degree, you have degree. I have been in the party, you've also been in the party. But maybe I have gone to a particular level, you are yet to get there. Maybe that is where I may have an edge over you. Or better still, maybe you are more acceptable to the people than me. Or looking by my nature and other things, I would deem fit to be in that office than you. I mean, these are some of the things that will be looked into.
It often breaks my heart.
And your
to say-
contributions in the party in the past too. And your willingness to help the government achieve his goals.
It often breaks my heart, but
You see?
this is the ideal situation. The ideal situation is what you've stated.
No,
but the
there's-
reality is that, a number of issues also come to play. Tribe, ethnicity.
Yes,
and all of those things. And I think we should not gloss over those ones because those are very pertinent in the conversation. You cannot just...
No, but Kwame, you agree with me too. When it comes to this MMDC issues, I think to a large extent the tribal distinct took place a very strong distinct there. It is
so
only...
it's tribe over competence, like Honorable said. Are we gauging your competence, or we are gauging where you are from? And that is what has been used against even you.
No, I get it. No, but we are getting it wrong here. The office of the regional secretary is different from the office of the MC. For instance, Owusu East, where I am trying to, it will be very difficult, excuse me to say, for you to bring somebody like a Gan in Owusu East. Are you getting me? No, Kwame, are you getting me?
Yeah.
Like to bring a Gan in Owusu East, Nima and S. Everons, to be the MC there. Are you getting me? Or to go and bring somebody, excuse me to say, and a Muslim, to be the MC there. One will be dealing with the chiefs, the imams, and other things. Do you get me right? So, of course, all things being equal, it will be very decent to bring somebody that they can easily gel with, they can easily link with, they can easily communicate with, they can identify themselves with. Do you get me right? Yes, that's why we are saying that governance at the local level. But when we come to party this, especially the office that I was contesting for, secretary, which has nothing to do with my tribal background, it is all about the qualification and the work that you're supposed to do. And I've done this from the polling station. I've been a secretary from the polling station up to the regional level. And thank God, I believe majority of the people in the region actually supported me. It is just that power that was in this and that actually...
It's just that you...
Yes, but it was 23 votes.
That's what it is. You can't say it. But it was just that you were maltreated in your own party. But point is that we've been practicing this for a very long time. You know, the idea that we need to ensure that people are well represented on the basis of where they come from, etc., so that there can be that coordination.
Exactly.
But that has not really yielded any positive result. So why don't we... Yeah, okay, yeah.
I'll just put it to him. In the 2016 manifesto of the MPP, the manifesto of the MPP, they said that the answer to this conundrum that we are all talking about
election
is to go for the election of the MMDCs.
Yeah, that's a fact.
No.
So what has happened to Nana Akufo-Addo's pledge?
Thank you.
What has happened?
No, let me come. Don't forget that particular decision in the manifesto, it was for the people. Are you getting me? But when Nana came, if you quite remember, in his first decision, he wanted to bring that particular decision. And there has been a very huge debate on this particular issue, including myself, that it will not augur well if we claim to be capitalist and NDC, which is an alternative government, claim to be socialist, and will make it open. Whether you just add your Democrat to it. I know you to be socialist. So, Kwame, you agree with me, and me, Sabo, happen to have an office, MC office, in the government of the NDC, who believes in capitalism. You can imagine the decision that I'll have with the central government when it comes to ideologies and other things. Do you get me right? So we were of the view that, we the party people, that no, I think the election will be good. But why not the president nominate about 3 people and then leave it to the general public to elect one of them as the decision? Then it means that the person still fall within the ideologies of the president of the day.
We should get to a point where we will move. That is why we cannot even build a national development plan.
Yes.
You know, because can't you get to a point where we move beyond
national
the partisanship? And then we say that it doesn't matter whether it is MPP or MPP. Insofar as the people, you know, elect this particular person to lead them at the local level, we should be able to vote for that person.
I agree with you.
Irrespective of which political background. So that at least PNC can also get a representation at the local level.
No, I get you. The national development plan that we are talking of has nothing to do with the 2 ideologies. Excuse me to say, every government will need bridges. Every government would need roads. Every government would need schools. Every government would need hospitals. Yeah. These are the cardinal areas of development that we need to look at as a nation, and then see what are the deficits of these things in the country. And in 20 years' time, how do we make up the difference? And we come together and then dialogue.
But we use a vehicle.
And then put this thing on paper. But the ways and means to achieve are in the ideologies.
Absolutely, but yes. And it's also the vehicle through which we use in executing these policies.
No.
So because at the local level, we know that it's the MMDCs who are close with authority to, for instance, engage the people, find out their needs, and then, you know, and bring
exactly.
Yeah, so if we have, if we get to a point where we feel like, okay, it is no longer on the basis of partisanship, but on the basis of the desires of the people, which desires will now lead the people to vote for a specific person, irrespective of the political ideology, then I think that we're making a headway. It's about development as opposed to partisanship.
It has always been on the basis of the desires of the people. That is why when I was coming for your vote, I told that I'm a capitalist, and I'm going to the capitalist system to rule this government. If you believe in it, vote for me.
Okay, I see where you are going. Where
how they are getting me?
Well, I see where you're going. But then I wanted to.
But is he saying that at the time that the NPP was putting in his manifesto,
they didn't know they were capitalists?
They didn't know that these people were capitalists.
Well, that's a very good valid point.
I mean,
respectfully, yeah, Bernard, please. Yeah, you wanted to respond to a few things.
Well, I don't know why our elder brother chose to bring this topic. The NDC chose to oppose the election of MMDCs in addition to the election of the assembly members on the basis of political parties. And so if today there is a discussion and then the NDC come and say that the panacea,
I don't know whether I can clarify.
Please, can he let him land first? Yes.
The panacea,
it's not a correct position.
The panacea to the multiple persons who are interested in being appointed as MMDCs is for their election. Then why would the NDC join with some of us who held the position that electing our MMDC is on the basis of their political parties will pose a bigger challenge? Don't forget that the Professor Fiajo and the commission that looked at the constitutional review work had made some recommendations towards the election of MMDCs. It was Professor Ivan Satta-Mills whose white paper indicated that the party or president should choose 3 people and present them to the assembly so the assembly members can vote on them. Because if you choose not to do so, you will be injuring first your party base, and secondly, where I said, I have insisted that, look, if you do that and you put partisanship in the district assembly elections, some persons in your own community who will be elected into the assemblies as assembly members, not because of their membership of a political party, but because of their contribution to the society that they come from, will be denied. And I have said this, look, we have many people working in the public service. Many people, judges and what have you, agriculturalists, who have gathered enormous experience because of their work. Take note that most of these people, including us all, have not lived in our communities because our work will take us away far from our communities. It is only when we get or attain retirement that we are now available to go back to our various homes to go and serve. In that instance, such people want to offer themselves and their wealth of knowledge to the assemblies by becoming assembly members. At that time when you say that I should be an MPP member, I should be a PNC member, before I can be voted, many people will shy away because if I'm a judge, for instance, I will not at that last minute want to show. So the assemblies will be denied the expertise of these people. And those were some of the arguments we put forward and argued vigorously that, look, we have even we have over-monetized the parliamentary to the presidential elections, that you don't want such monetization to trickle down to the local levels in the terms of partisanship. And I know people, for instance, in the Sankana area, if you said that they should stand on the basis of their political parties, they would not have been assembly members, particularly in Sombo, where Bagbin comes from. The assembly member from that area, Bagbin's area, is a known and ardent MPP member. But everybody knows that NDC wins overwhelmingly in that area. But why would the people vote for him? They voted for him knowing that he's an MPP member, but that the assembly is non-partisan. If you had introduced partisanship, I can tell you that would have lost it. So for me, the NDC took the position that we all took, that look, you thought about it wrongly. And it was President Kufuor who actually even started this issue of we will elect MMDC. When he got onto office, he said reality had dawned on him and that they would not do it. Akufo-Addo wanted to try his luck, and they didn't boomerang on him. that he even went flouting the laws, because once you have tabled that a referendum should be conducted, you don't have the power to go and stop the referendum. But President Akufo-Addo did, because he wanted to save his image.
I mean, your arguments are very valid.
So, Kwame, I'm just putting it for a record. We oppose that the referendum that was tabled that was ultimately cancelled. The article on it was not for the election of the MMDCs. That was very clear, and that is why we opposed it.
It was
because it specifically more or less left the market.
But that's what I'm saying, that even the NDC proposed that, you see, MMDC is 3 of them should be nominated
I think that
for the assembly members to go and determine. So even in that way, it means that the NDC, by action and by words, has indicated that, look, we are not going to allow the elections, public elections of the MMDC.
Because you see,
I don't think that
even we in the NDC had indicated that if we had won the 2020 elections, 2016 elections at that time, we're going to consider the principle of the election.
But I think that you've not made any strong argument in disagreeing with his position that you were all in agreement
about the election of the MMDC.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That even in 2016, in our manifesto, we had considered that it would be possible for us to go for the election of the MMDCs.
Bernard said that you then opposed later.
No, I'm saying that we opposed it because of the article that the president sought to amend in the referendum was not for the election of MMDCs.
But what was it for?
Clearly, Kwame, I wish I could quote the specific article.
No, but what was it for?
Indicate, but
because
clearly,
I'm sure there were
even the analysis, even the MPP accepted that it was no longer an issue of the getting the referendum to approve for the election of the MMDC.
Yeah, but someone has explained the position of his party in respect of refusal.
Because you know why? Because
someone has indicated clearly
yes,
that there's a huge disparity between the political ideologies. And therefore, if we voted for...
Kwame, that is a moot point. At the time they were making that proposition for inclusion in their manifesto, why? That factor you're talking about didn't exist.
Yeah, we were thinking
it existed.
No, but they made... No, you see, they have advanced the argument. You in opposing...
The ideological differences notwithstanding. At the time they put it in their manifesto in 2016 that when elected, President Nana Akufo-Addo would go for the election of the MMDC. He didn't know that.
Okay, right.
So Kwame, I think the problem is that there's a difference, or let me say difficulty between harmonizing the interests of the party, because it is in the interest of the parties to have DCs picked by the party.
Okay.
Because party functionaries and others, principle get people that they want to be DCs.
All right.
But if you go for a electing principle, it's out of their hands.
All right, Honorable, let me go for this quick commercial break. But before then, the Ministry of National Security has issued a statement. And today's what? Yesterday actually. Today's 21st, right?
Yes.
So yesterday, the 20th of May, 2021, but it came out, I think, yesterday. Action on the committee report on the arrest of the city. If Adam can project that on the screens. Arrest of the City FM journalist at the Ministry of National Security. An investigation committee was set up by the Ministry of National Security to investigate a report of arrest of Mr. Caleb Kuda of City FM. On May 11, 2021, the committee established that the conduct of Lieutenant Colonel Frank Ajiman, Director of Operations, and some police officers at the ministry on a said day was inappropriate and contravened the ministry standards operating procedures. The committee also established that the journalist's unauthorized entry into the premises of the Ministry of National Security was unlawful. The following actions have thus been taken by the ministry. 1. The secondment of Lieutenant Colonel Frank Ajiman, Director of Operations at the ministry, has been reversed. The officer is to report to the Chief of Defense Staff for further investigation and appropriate action. The 3 police officers involved have been withdrawn and are to report to the Ghana Police Service for investigation and disciplinary action. The Ministry of National Security wishes to assure the general public and particularly all media practitioners that the ministry will expeditiously investigate any complaints against any personnel of its agencies. The tenets of national security in Ghana should be based on a whole of government and a whole of society approach and cooperation from all well-meaning Ghanaians. The ministry assures the general public that measures continue to be taken to ensure the highest professional standards to engender public trust. end. Signed, Honorable Albert Kandapa, Minister for National Security. Now, let me go for this quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to be touching on a number of issues. One, Bawumia says coronavirus is to blame for Ghana's economic mess. The Electoral Commissioner, Jay Mensah, has been talking. What has she been saying? We will touch on that. The economy to get 1 billion boost from Development Bank. You remember that the president went for some 170 million euros loan in order to open a bank. Now, the conversation has started. We're going to get into all of that. It gets exciting after this commercial break. Stay with us.
Every day, he has a drink filled with malt. Every day, he has a drink filled with malt and milk. Every day, he has a drink filled with malt, milk, and cocoa. Every day, he needs the nutritious goodness of Milo. Milo, the energy to go further. This advert is FDA approved. Every day, he looks after his brother and chases a bus. Every day he looks after his brother, chases a bus, and learns new things. Every day he looks after his brother, chases a bus, learns new things, and gets back home. Every day he looks after his brother, chases a bus, learns new things, gets back home, and helps his mom. Phew. That's why every day he needs his cup of Milo filled with the nutritious goodness of malt, milk, and cocoa. Milo, the energy to go further.
From Nestle.
This advert is FDA approved.
Thank you very kindly for staying tuned into Pan-African Television. The WhatsApp number is on the screens now. You can share with us what your thoughts are. We're also streaming live on Facebook. Kindly share the feed so others can get the opportunity to watch. We're also on YouTube as well, youtube.com/Pan-African Television. For those of you who follow me personally on Facebook, you can connect with me there. Share with me your thoughts, your messages, your disagreement, your agreement. I will be more than glad to read them here for you on the show. I'm also on Instagram at Kwame Owusu Danso, Twitter at Kwame Owusu Danso, Clubhouse at Kwame Owusu Danso. Honorable Ebufuseni, Dr. Bawumia has been talking. Do you know what he's been saying? He says that he's blaming coronavirus for our economic quagmire. Do you agree with him? Do you not agree with him? What are your reasons?
Kwame,
Yes, sir.
I've always said it that as for the man who dies in the market, you don't need to announce his demise. To accuse Dr. Bawumia of peddling such levels of falsehood, it's like accusing a dog of barking. I think it's a household lesson in Ghana here today. Everybody knows that the current vice president suffers a huge credibility deficit about pronouncements that he makes. Ultimately, when you go and find out, it's terrible. And I've always said, Kwame, why he allows himself to be used to do that dirty work when the MPP has dirty work to do, especially in propagating falsehood in very difficult times. He's the one they use willingly, and he lends himself to that unfortunate, most unfortunate. Kwame, you remember who issued this statement or made this pronouncement that the economy under the watch of Nana Akufo-Addo and Dr. Bawumia is not only robust, but it's resilient. Kwame,
I remember.
You remember that?
I do.
Is it not Dr. Bawumia?
Yes, he said that.
When you use the word, we are speaking English, and words have meanings. When you use the word robust and resilient, Kwame, what do they mean?
It can withstand the
It means that
fortitude of
even with some
pressures.
level of pressure and force, it will still stand. Pimping,
Absolutely.
kinking, ally. So if you use those words, and just 2 weeks of coronavirus, and he himself said it, that if you lie about the resilience and robustness of the economy, 2 weeks of coronavirus will expose you. Kwame, within 2 weeks of coronavirus, everything was in shambles. Even then, but Kwame, let me say without any iota of hesitation, that long before coronavirus, Kwame, when did we get corona? I think the first case was reported in March 2020. March. Kwame, as far back as 2018, 2019, the economy was already under severe stress. In fact, it was on a downward spiral. Kwame, let me just give you some indices of the economy before coronavirus. Okay?
Yeah.
Kwame, our debt to GDP, if you even go back to 2019, Kwame, we have passed a Fiscal Responsibility Act, Parliament, by which the deficit is not supposed to go beyond 5%. Kwame, in 2019, we exceeded the 5% mark, 7.5. The figure that they were trying to give to hide from Ghanaians, which they went and give to IMF. So they used to give IMF the true picture. Then Ghanaians, they will come and polish this and give us a different figure. That's that is statistics according to Dr. Bawumia.
Right.
Okay? Kwame, we had exceeded the fiscal responsibility mark of 5%. That is not an economy that is doing well. Kwame, we missed all our revenue targets. Expenditure was off mark. Kwame, we had engaged in reckless act of borrowing.
Right.
Okay? Our debt levels were unsustainable. Kwame, we are spiraling cost of living. Prices, forget about the official figure they will give you for inflation. And these people, when they give you figures like that, they only want to look good. The real figures on the ground, Kwame, go to the markets and the people will tell you the level at which prices were changing. And inflation is about the degree of changes in the quantum of prices on the market. You go to the market, Kwame, you buy the next 2-3 days or 1 week, you go again. The prices are ongoing, upward swing. Okay, which has resulted in spiraling cost of living. Kwame, as at 2020, this government had increased fuel prices by more than 23 times. Fuel prices, we stood at 13.50 cedis when President Akufo-Addo took over. Kwame, today is going to 28 cedis a gallon. Okay? So it is not long before COVID came. Kwame, workers were struggling with stagnant wages in the face of this escalating cost of living that you are talking about. Kwame, statutory payments and others were in arrears and have still been in arrears. Payments to contractors and others from the finance ministry and others is in huge arrears. Payments to, like I said, statutory road fund, district assembly common fund, all those things were still in arrears. This is not economy that was properly managed, and so too. Even the things they sought to do propaganda with, free HHS and others. Kwame, look at the state in which where headmasters were even threatening to close down schools. No payments because no money. Kwame, the NAPCO that Sabo is been touting and all the districts as such 100,000. NAPCO even tradies have had outstanding arrears not paid to them. Nursing training that they talked about, making propaganda that they had restored nursing and teacher training. Kwame, they all had arrears that the monies were not paid. Okay? So COVID is just a convenient scapegoat for government to hide its blatant incompetence. Their abysmal incompetence in managing the economy has shown. So they are just looking for a convenient way to hide that crass incompetence and their inability to manage that so that it will inure to the benefit of the expectations of Ghanaians. Kwame, it is only in Ghana and under Nana Akufo-Addo and Dr. Bawumia that they were touting a resilient, viable economy, and it was not reflecting in the lives of the people. Kwame, when you say an economy is buoyant, is viable, is robust, Kwame, it will reflect in the lives of the people positively. That's why they say that the sweetness of the pudding is not in the aroma. It's in the eating. When the economy is good, it should reflect positively in the lives of the people. Kwame, I lie.
That's true.
How come that all that time, the lives of Ghanaians, and go back, 2018, 2019, even the early part of 2020, before we went to March, I think March 12th, when we reported the first COVID-19 case. What was the state of the economy? It wasn't much to write home about. That's why, Kwame, they engaged on that reckless level of borrowing. From about 120 billion to today, we have almost 300 billion. Can you imagine that? In a space of just 4 years. And what is there to show for it? This government has not successfully built one single hospital. One new secondary school, they haven't built. And in the face of the COVID-19, had it not been for the array of impressive infrastructure that the Mills Mahama government had put together. Kwame, you can imagine, count all the hospitals there you can talk about. They are from the Mills Mahama NDC stock.
But how would you have been able to stabilize inflation, exchange rate, and things like that in the midst of COVID-19? Because this is a global pandemic.
Kwame, I'm saying that even before that, I'm just giving you all this. But Kwame, why? Even go to the sub-region. Economic growth. Ghana has the lowest economic growth in the West African sub-region. 0.9. 0.9%. Burkina Faso, just here, they are growing an average of 2% plus. Cote d'Ivoire, our neighbors here, their economic growth rates are better than what we are. Are you saying that they have been insulated from COVID? Or just admit that they have managed COVID better than Ghana? Is that the case? Then it speaks to your inept leadership. Whatever the case may be. So, Kwame, the story of efficient economic management will reflect in the lives of your people. Even in the indicators, like I just said. Why? If you are a better manager, why are others in the sub-region growing at 2%, 2.5%, 2.6%, and you are growing at 0.9%? Zero. And you call yourself a better economic manager. What kind of economic management are you talking about? Come and look at the level of unemployment. This government rode on the backs of unemployment and unemployed graduates and others to power. Since it came to power, the ranks of unemployed has further swelled.
Well, yesterday we had this debate, myself and Mutala Mohammed, on this show.
Yes.
That is hovering around 6.8%.
Which one?
Unemployment rates in Ghana.
Which is
6.8. Yes, that's what it is.
Where
And then we can project it.
Where is that figure coming from?
No, this is the Ghana statistics on
which statistics?
Oh no, but that's what it is. 6.8. It's 6.8.
I contest that figure vehemently.
Why?
Where are you getting that figure from?
That is 6.8. I mean, that's
unemployment rate in Ghana is 6.8%.
It's 6.8%.
God of mercy.
Yes. And then we'll project it. And then you have it.
Kwame,
project it.
Kwame, this is by all accounts, I don't believe that figure.
Okay.
I
will project the figure.
I don't believe that figure.
Okay.
Kwame, the current levels of unemployment in the system, Kwame, you go anywhere, all the youth, and that is why this movement has erupted. Fix the country. Is the further swelling of the ranks of the unemployed, especially of graduates and people from our tertiary institutions who are graduating every year. And for the last 5 years, 4.5 years that the NPP getting to 5 years now, the numbers they've added to the ranks of unemployed. So it's a net of what we are able to employ. And so tell us, how many...
Government has created jobs.
Kwame,
comparatively.
Kwame, every government has created jobs. The question is, how many jobs do you create to reduce the ranks of the unemployed? That is what matters. Which government is there that hasn't created jobs?
But if you had created more jobs to absorb a lot of the unemployed people during your tenure, we would not have been having this conversation.
Kwame, we had created jobs to absorb some of the unemployed. I won't sit here and say,
because
under the
during your regime, we had nurses who were home.
Yes.
Nurses had not been...
Yes, Kwame, but go and compare the records of how many nurses we employed under our watch. When this government was leaving, over 160,000, the total, they came and said it was 168 and claimed they had created 55,000, which is false, patently false. Go and look at the records. Look at the records of nurses we employed under our watch and the nurses they employed under our watch.
How many nurses did you employ under our watch?
That's why I told you that at the time we were leaving, over 160,000, the record was there. And they came and said, they had employed 55,000. It's patently false. Just added about 8,000 or so, and you are claiming you added 55,000, which is not correct. The figure under the NDC was far greater. You see, So Kwame, I am saying that look, we have had a record of this country where figures that are put up, Kwame, do not reflect the reality on the ground. Figures that were massaged. If there are figures that are supposed to look good, and they top them up. If they are the bad figures, then they reduce the quantum. You know. So
2020.
Kwame.
6.8.
Kwame.
Yes, sir.
I am telling you,
2016 6.8, 2017 6.6, 2018 6.6, maybe 5.
Kwame, to be very honest with you,
But it's increasing.
Kwame,
Yeah, it's gone back to 6.8, but it's not different from 2016.
Kwame,
Yes.
I am
But
telling
by
you that
2010,
Kwame,
Yes, sir.
it's increasing.
any objective scientific data today, as we speak, will tell you that the level of unemployment today is higher than before.
That's what you are looking at.
Because I'm just asking you, how many jobs?
Alaji, if you look at this data, what 2010, 2012, 2014, you will see that compared with 2020, the figure is higher than in those other years.
But look at the level of
I'm coming.
the appreciation from 2014 to 2016. Look at the
You see,
percentage.
Kwame,
No, even take from
appreciation.
2010
Kwame, just let me make this.
to 20. So
let
it
me make
is
this.
rather on
Let
the
me make
high
this
side.
very small analysis, and you see
Make it.
you render a lot of this useless. Kwame, how many people graduate from our tertiary institutions every
Over
year?
200,000.
How many jobs are created every year in this sector? Are the numbers up to that? So every year you are adding a net deficit to your figures. So if you tell me that in 2019 you had 6.something%, and in 2020 you have added a significant number of jobless people to the ranks, and the thing doesn't show any difference. Are you telling me that your data is scientific?
I want to conclude for me. I need
It
to
is
answer
not.
the others.
So Kwame, that's why I'm saying that. Look, let us be very in other places people cherish data very well, so they make sure that the data they churn out is reliable, is authentic, is genuine. But over here we use data for propaganda and political purposes. So when it's designed to make you look good, but the real figures are hidden. You never get to the real figures. We tell you the true story of the plight of the people of this country.
Because where I got this is the tradingeconomics.com. And okay, well, so I will grant you what you are saying, because this one is saying that unemployment rate in Ghana is expected to reach 7.10% by the end of 2021. So yeah, the same people who gave us this projection are saying that by the end of 2021, it will.
I am just indicating to you, Kwame. That's why I'm telling you. You see, statistics has a way in which you can play. You play with the figures according to what you want to do. But in serious jurisdictions where they use it for planning purposes, Kwame, you make sure that you get to the bottom, so that in your planning you can adequately take care of the distance and fashion the appropriate strategies to deal with the problem. Because Kwame, I have said that the biggest bump that we are facing, and Kwame, listen to me carefully, the biggest bump that we face today in this country is youth unemployment.
That's true.
It's a very serious problem, Kwame,
Yeah.
which all of us as politicians, as social scientists and all over, if we don't address,
All right.
Kwame, it's a time bomb which when they explode,
Yeah.
it will carry all of us
Let me
away.
come to Sabo and then we'll go on.
So I think that this attempt to use COVID as a convenient whipping boy for the hopelessly uninspiring performance of the MPP in economic management of the country is a ruse.
All right. Thank
So
you very,
long
very
before
much.
COVID, they had shown their incompetence and their incapacity to handle the economy.
Thank you very much.
And they are bad managers of the economy.
Thank you very much. Bernard is living in the animal farm kingdom, but it's okay. Let me come to you, Sabo, on the subject matter. I think it's important that you address this. Sabo, let me come to you. Yeah.
Thank you, Kwame. I have listened to my elder brother very quietly and attentively. And I think he was talking on the economy. And then what Dr. Baumier said. Kwame, let's first look at the grammatical aspect of it. That Dr. Baumier described the economy as robust. And the economy came crumbling under COVID-19. So, no, you exercise patience. So, and for that matter, he lied. Kwame, you agree with me? In Ghana today, if you are looking for the most robust car in Ghana, I think V8 stands tall. Am I right?
Mm-hmm.
But I believe when you go to compare, you see V8 scrap as scrap. Maybe even 1 year old V8. But when it crashes, it can go and will never come back to the road. But it is described as robust. So does it mean that it is immune against all other disasters? So I don't get it. So the fact that the economy is described as robust does not mean that the economy cannot fall under certain pressures or conditions. Even human factors can even make the economy crumble. Is that not it?
Yeah.
And this is something that has not only affected Ghana, even American economy that we know the whole world. When we are even talking of robustness of an economy. Today, as we speak, look at the debt to GDP ratio of America.
Right.
If almighty America is up. And you sit here and then say that what the man said is a lie. I find it difficult to relate to it. Quite apart from that, Kwame, I think with the issue of the size of the economy and the growth rate of the GDP,
Right.
that one too, my brother got it wrong. I'm shocked and surprised. Kwame, if you go to Ghana Statistical Service, it will indicate to you. In fact, we inherited 3.7 or 3.6 growth rate of GDP from the NDC.
7.6.
No. 3.
So
Kai.
3.
3 point what?
3. Check. Google.
GDP.
Yes.
False.
Check.
It's not true.
Yeah.
NDC, throughout your performance, you have never come closer to 6 even.
Look at what the man is saying.
Growth rate. I am telling you. I am not saying this one.
Go and look at the figure.
Oh!
It is 16.
But
it was 6.3.
My big brother, why not Google and put me to shame
I'm just
here?
saying that 6.3.
Oh, I am speaking to facts here.
No, it's not a fact. 3%. You are lying. It's not correct. It's not.
Economy, the agri, which is the backbone of the economy. At what rate was it growing? You are not negative.
We are not going to sectors. We are talking about overall.
I am just trying to let you know.
No.
I mean, the
individual sectors are different from the overall.
The largest contributor to the growth is agri. What was the growth rate?
Stats Ghana in 2016 showed a growth rate of 3.7%.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
No, that is it.
Compared to 3.8%.
No, Kwame, that is why I was even asking him himself to Google. I have done my research and I'm talking about this. And whether it has landed on the figure that I'm saying. So, Kwame, let's go. Let's continue.
Go on.
Kwame,
Yes, sir.
you see, and 2018, we brought it to 6.3% growth rate. 2019, we brought it to, 6.1. And 2020, when the COVID caught up with us, it came down to 1.5%. In fact, even this 2021, in the midst of COVID, we have recovered even. And the growth rate has gone to 5.9%. Yes. I will not lie. I am speaking.
5.9 for which year?
Oh, I'm speaking of 2021. 2021. The growth rate.
What's the growth rate?
2020 we are just in 5 months and we are already
5.9. Kwame, I am coming. You see, maybe I don't know where you are. Me, I am speaking. Like whoever is even watching can just check, and then know whether I'm speaking the truth or I'm lying. I will get him, Kwame. But you agree with me. Let's come to a layman's point of view of how economy is managed. Kwame, I agree with me that if in a normal, because the economy will say that all things being equal, it means, thank you very much. It means that if all circumstances are in their normal conditions, this is how it will perform. Kwame, you agree with me? If all things being equal, there will be production in the country. Industries and people and whatever will be working. I hope you are getting me. And for that matter, the government will also have the opportunity to tax the system and also raise revenue and reduce borrowing. I hope you are getting me.
I'm with you.
And then, of course, there will also be foreign direct investment in the country, which will also go a long way to increase the size of the economy. All these things are things that you should look at under normal circumstances. But in this current situation, all these things, we are not producing at the level or at the capacity that we're supposed to produce as a country. And we are spending above our expenditure distance because of the crisis. Because had it been COVID, all this medicine that are being brought into this country would have been channeled towards certain developmental projects. Two, if you remember, during the what do you call it? How do I even call it? The lockdown. We also had to even feed a section of the population, isn't it? As a result of COVID-19. You also agree with me. Vehicles have been procured. Other auxiliary facilities have been procured just to fight COVID-19. And even as we speak, in fact, some people were not even, government workers were not even going to work. They were not producing, but they were being paid at the end of the month. And a typical example is my sector, teachers. Were at home, but they were being paid. So all this is brought into the distance. I don't see why you should say that an economy that was robust or is robust will not crumble as a result of these factors. That is why I use the V8 as an example of a robustness and other things.
Okay.
So, Kwame, I think sometimes we should be very careful in our quest to run down our opponents. The choice of West, we should be guided by the choice of West that we normally put. I don't think Dr. Bawumia lied. Quite apart from that, that is his fault. But if you feel that there are figures or facts of economy that he has mentioned, that you think that just opposing it to the reality is not the case, then you could have brought it out in your submissions. And I would have found it difficult here to defend it because figures can never lie.
Figures lie.
Figures can never lie. Because 1 + 1, if it is 2, you may say 3. But when they go everywhere in Japan, even they can't speak Dagbani. But if I say 1 + 1, 2, they will tell you, yes, it's 2. How are you getting me? Yes. So if you come here and say that he said this, he said that, he said that, he said that, the economy, quite apart from that, if you talk of unemployment, Kwame, I think unemployment in a country, if you want to be fair to the system, in fact, when he mentioned unemployment, he mentioned the number of students who are graduating from our tertiary institutions. And he also mentioned that the condition or the rate of unemployment as we speak today is far higher than when we came to meet it. Kwame, let me tell you, before I even come, let me just give you another simple distance. The growth rate of Ghana's population today as we speak is at 2 point something. I've forgotten of the decimal point. 2 point something growth rate. I hope you're getting me. So, no. It's 2 point. Check, Google. I mean, that is why. Thank you.
Yeah, it's an average of 3%.
Thank you. So, if you
so
say, which is even higher than what I'm even.
2.6 or 2.7.
Yes, which is even higher than what I'm even saying.
2.7.
Yes. So, Kwame, you see, no, me, I will not sit here and lie.
Now who is sitting here?
I knew you were going to say that. I knew you were going to say that. There's no one.
No, you have just lied here, but me, it's not even here, but you have just lied. You see, Kwame.
What is the meaning of that?
Go on.
Yes. To even defend himself when you called him a liar.
You admit that about me as a liar.
Never. That's what I'm saying. It's not even here. Even me, who did not even make a statement, is able to defend what Bawumia said. And you cannot challenge it. You see? So, let me even put the growth rate of 2.6. Kwame, of 30,000. Calculate 2.6 of 8. I'm talking about 30 million. Calculate 2.6 of 30 million and see the number of people, yes, who are even added onto the distance. Are they getting me? So, if we came to meet, let's say, unemployed youth of, let's say, let me just put it in a simple lesson that our viewers can be with me. Let's say 30,000 people, and we are able to employ 15 out of 30,000 people. Of course, at that time, we have reduced unemployment. Do you get me right? And if COVID-19 had not come, of course, production would have continued. The economy would have continued to expand, and the jobs would have been created. And there would have been a lot of opportunities that the teeming youth would have also been absorbed into it. So if you tell me today that even unemployment has now gone on the increase, I wouldn't even, of course, being a realist, I wouldn't dispute what you are saying. But just oppose it to the current situation and then tell me when we were in government, when this thing was not there, why couldn't you actually be able to solve that particular problem? Why did you allow it? Like you said, because we came to meet Unemployed Nurses Association in this country. I'm doing my best to find them. I can't find them. I don't even know their location today as we speak. Unemployed Teachers Association. I cannot find them.
Unemployed
graduates. I can't find them today. Do you get me right? And you are telling me today the situation has worsened, and yet these people cannot be found anywhere in the economy.
So they are no longer graduates.
Yes, fine, forgive me. No, fine.
So no graduates have been employed.
Give me their contact today.
But during your regime, we had an organization called Unemployed.
That is it. What
They are still in the system.
Oh, I don't know where they are.
Do you know where were they?
No, but they were very loud. They were talking. They were demonstrating.
So that what? Civil society. Civil society that was loud. Are they allowed today?
Let me let Sabo.
Every sections of your media who were allowed under President Mama, are they allowed today?
Let me let Sabo land and then.
Are they allowed today? Because they have been accused.
Sabo.
So Kwame.
You have to land now.
No, I'm landing because this I don't have much to say on it.
So Kwame, don't use that as a pretext.
So in a situation like this, for instance, when Ebola broke out, it was their regime. Alhamdulillah. Even though, so you heard me say Alhamdulillah, and you are Muslim, you understand why I'm saying Alhamdulillah, because it never came. That's why I'm saying Alhamdulillah.
You were praying that I should come here. Under President Mama. Corona has come under your Corona has come under your watch.
So you see, Alhamdulillah, what I just said is I thank God it never caught up with us. Though our sister, this is Nigeria, of which we frequently travel to.
Mama was a good
I mean, it was there. Don't get me right. But it never got to this place. But Kwame, tell me, did it affect the economy of this country? Though there was no Ebola in this country. But did the government come out to say that it has affected the economy? Was it not the case? But we never experienced Ebola here. But coronavirus is here with us in the country. And yet, we have been able to manage it to this extent. So you can imagine if it was with President Mahama and coronavirus.
All right.
I am telling you today, Kwame, as I was coming here, I will have helped bowl like this.
Okay.
And be doing feasibility.
Thank you very much.
In fact,
Baron.
In fact, when you were counting the number of people holding votes, count them.
Baron on my Twitter page is saying, KOD kindly reminds Sabo that the COVID vaccines are free and government is not producing it with any money. Also, government received. Let me finish the message. Also, government received funds. Also, government. Can I read the messages, gentlemen? Also, gentlemen, please. Also, government received funds from IMF, World Bank, and local industries and individuals for COVID, which was put into the trust fund. Where is the money?
Yes. The money in Parliament. Where is the money?
All right, Bernard, let me come to you.
Kwame, let me remind you. One Ghana, they have not bought a vaccine. All the countries are buying vaccine. They have not bought one vaccine.
Bernard, let me come to you.
You are relying on donations.
Bernard, let me come to you.
You are relying on donations.
You have the full check.
Where? How much have you spent to? Which vaccine have you brought in with money?
Can you sanitize?
Let's because of
Can you sanitize the
Bernard, go ahead.
discussion? Kwame, it is with pain that I have to speak
The way you are about to.
about my elder brother, Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, who says that the economic trepidations that Ghana is going through should be blamed on coronavirus. We are in trouble. Because the problem that we face as a nation is because of the structure of the Ghanaian economy, and it has nothing whatsoever to do with coronavirus. Indeed, if coronavirus has done anything, Alhaji, take note, coronavirus has come to help us so that the economic mess that we would have been in has been saved. And I'll give you examples before I go to the structure of the economy. One of the major problems we face as a nation is that we normally import more than we export.
That's true.
Not so?
Yeah. That's true.
Coronavirus came and mitigated the appetite for imports. The amount of money that you spend on import reduced drastically because you could not even go out there to do importation. And because you could not import that high, what it meant is that your expenditure out of the country was reduced. Meaning you were not spending as much as you should have spent on the dollar purchases, which has an influence on the stability of your currency. Basic economics. Because, look, this is basic. You don't need to go anywhere. 101 economics. I have never invited you to any of my discussions. Just to be concentrating on your WhatsApp messages. You understand? So basic 101 economics will tell you that you are not importing, and therefore your use of your currency to buy hard currency, which reduced the potency of your currency, was no more in existence, and therefore your currency stability was supposed to be higher this time as compared to other currencies. Okay? Now, if you take the other part, anytime you import, Kwame, and you export, the terms of trade, which is the difference between your imports and your exports, or your exports and your imports, will show whether it is negative or positive. Now, your terms of trade will also show a positive balance because your exports are almost at par with your imports. You are no more importing, and you knew that the Ghana Union Traders Association, GUTA, had always insisted that this time they were no more importing. People could not travel. You understand? So imports also reduced. That means that your terms of trade also started to show positive image. Which terms of trade also has an effect on your balance of payment. And consequently, your economic performance should be higher. If you take this aside, then you know, Alaji, that your economy should have been doing well and that coronavirus came in as a redeemer of your economy. Let me give you another area. Look, health tourism was reduced. Kwame, you know that? Health tourism was reduced. President Akufo-Addo, who was monthly going outside of the country to do routine medical checkup, when COVID came, we were no more doing routine medical checkup outside. President Akufo-Addo didn't travel out of this country to go to the United Kingdom as he has always. Alaji, you have always been in Parliament, and anytime he's traveling and they will bring up a notification that the president was going for routine medical checkup. So all those monies that had to be expended on these medical tourism was now in the country. It did not go out. That alone should tell you. And why? You saw chief executives, ministers and deputy ministers who get up and leave the shores of this country and tell you that they were seeking better medical care so that they can come back. Those people did not travel. We saved those monies in this country. Those monies will help to improve the health of your economy. If that did not happen, then it means that there is something wrong with you. In any case, Alaji, coronavirus came, and it is a pandemic, and I say that, look, we should all be thanking God and our oracles that coronavirus did not start in our country and did not start in Africa. Otherwise, I'm not sure the president would have even been in the country. Because of the way corona started outside of Ghana. If corona had started this way, all our president would have been the first to run out. Our ministers would have followed. So we would have been running Ghana outside of the country. Thankfully, coronavirus started from Asia, went to the Europe, and came to America. And the devastation levels that it visited on those countries, Alaji, cannot be compared to us. We are even blessed that we did not suffer the kind of heavy ramifications of the coronavirus pandemic. And that's why I say we should thank our God and our oracles. But that said, because of this pandemic, a lot of things, look, it enabled us to now start to think about what we call domestication of our economy. And also, people, we were lucky because we were told that we had bumper food. One of the major things that we should have suffered was food. And so if we were having food, other countries were not struggling. We didn't have. I'm saying that is what we were told. Because why? Even the poultry farmers came and were struggling to get maize.
I wanted to give you that example.
You understand? They were crying that they now have to import maize at high cost from other countries. So we mismanage our economy in spite of the fact that COVID came in order that it will be able to attenuate some of the difficulties that we are going to go through. So COVID saved the economy out of its mess. So when the vice president now comes to tell us that COVID is responsible for the economic mess, I now begin to ask, if there was no COVID, what the situation of the economy would have been? You understand what the situation of the economy would have been? Because the year of rose is yet to see any road being constructed.
88 hospitals.
The year of the hospitals is yet to see hospitals. Now it has been magnified to 110 hospitals. Nothing has been put on the ground. The year of the one district, one factory. Alaji, the 11 districts in the Upper West region, none of them has any factory. If you go to Bolgatanga, even the promised dog factory has not been put there. If you go to the Volta region, the promised cat factory has not been put there. And so I'm sure if you go around all the regions, you will be... In fact, there are private people who have established their factories.
There's
Government has...
A Chinese man who had his motorking, he had put it one district, one factory.
Even for a Chinese man.
Who had been 15 years.
So you see, these things have never come to reality. Alaji, the 1 million per constituency that was promised us that we'll get it 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, no $1 million has gotten to any of the constituencies. So when you sit down and you look at all these promises that were not delivered, and then you have a vice president, instead of coming to admit that, look, we have thrown the economy in shambles, coming to blame coronavirus, poor coronavirus. Alaji, and I have said, malaria continue to kill more. CSM continue to kill more. Diabetes continue to kill more than corona has killed in the entire period that we have over-bloated the menace.
True.
You understand? If you go to the hospitals and they tell you that the hospitals are full, do you know what they are referring to? And when I said this in Uganda and Kenya, people were like, I said, look, you have created in the rich hospital, we used to have 8-bed room dedicated to coronavirus patients. So when you go there and the 8 beds are occupied, you are told that the hospital is full. How many patients are admitted in the wards on malaria? I hope you understand. So we have dedicated a place for corona, 8 beds. And so when you get to the hospital and the 8 beds are occupied, then the announcement is that the hospital is full. 8 people. 1, 2, 3, 4, 8. It means the hospital is full. So when you go to any of the hospitals or dedicated corona places and the best places are occupied, the announcement is that the hospital is full. And you know what it creates? It creates that every space, including the children's ward, the maternity ward, the medical wards, are all full with corona patients. That is the impression that is created. In reality, it is only the 8 beds that have been dedicated. So we magnified this situation, exploited it. And whilst other nations are giving stimuluses to businesses, to individuals, so that they can recover themselves and make the economy buoyant, we are taxing those businesses that have already collapsed. Who is the mess of the economy? Is it coronavirus or is the perfidy of our government?
But Admana certainly is not
Statement.
Yeah.
When others, in the face of COVID, are giving packages to ameliorate the suffering of their people, we are using COVID, and in fact, there's even a COVID tax, pandemic tax. In the middle of a pandemic, you are using pandemic to institute tax. Extortionate taxation, 8 more new taxes, Kwame, for the already overburdened Ghanaians to pay under the watch. And you call this competence.
Anyway, thank you very much. Let's proceed. Look at the other issues. At the issue. Because of time.
Yeah.
So let's just, so that
If you have any issue, you can add it.
I have issues with development bank, but I've not even spoken about
so that development bank, we need to go there, but I also want us to touch on the EC thing. Okay, Ben, I'm starting with you. Economy to get $1 billion boost. Absolutely, that's what I'm going to do. From development bank, and then parties endorse.
2 hours more to
We,
conclude.
today, I will plead with my guys to give us a little more time, because I want to make sure that I give the equity must prevail, so everybody will get sufficient time to advance their arguments. So, Bernard, let me start with you. The last 2 topics: economy to get 1 billion, parties endorse new voting time, but also you can also address what the EC said in respect of the issues that occasioned during the 2020 elections, or some people losing their lives, some people being maimed, etc., etc. Please.
Kwame, before I start, I don't know whether you have come across this document.
Please, which one?
That was in circulation prior to the 2020 elections. And it is titled Ajapadia.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I think I even projected it on.
Ajapadia. This is the document.
Ajapadia.
And I think I might have forwarded it to you.
I think there is the
I forwarded this
Ochiman book, right?
document.
It's the Ochiman book, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Ajapadia, how they are going to take over resources, banks, close banks, and all.
I see.
Yeah, all
Everything is here.
Everything is there.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
So,
I don't know. I have not come across Sabo's name.
Yes, no,
I've not
that's
crossed
what it is. Yeah.
No, I've not come across Sabo's name, but many people in the MPP,
They mentioned names.
they
How
have
they are going to
mentioned
use, yeah.
how they will use Samir
That
Awoku,
Awoku to do
and
this.
how Samir Awoku was becoming popular, and how he has a weakness with women and all that. They have mentioned and how they will use him. They have spoken about Opon Nkrumah. They have spoken about John Wedu. Everybody has been mentioned, their strengths and their weaknesses, and how they can deal with Kennedy Japan. All that are there. And in the document,
Yeah. Even,
and in the
that loud guy in Kumasi, what's his name?
and in the document, they are talking about economic and financial sector control.
Yeah.
It is the reason why I'm mentioning it. They are talking about economic and financial sector control. And if you read the document, and you are a Ghanaian, indeed, I forwarded this document to
Forward it to me again.
to PLO Lumumba. You remember
Yeah.
PLO Lumumba, because he had made a statement on Akufo-Addo becoming a member of his African cabinet. So when I sent him this document, PLO Lumumba called me back and said, my brother, sorry. And I told him, after you have read the document, just go around and check what is happening in the country. And you will see that this country is managed according to this document. Ejapadia. This country is managed according to this document that I'm talking about. Fortunately for me, if I show you the source of this document, Alhaji, you will marvel. It is somebody who helped founded the MPP, who saw this document and freaked, and forwarded the document to me and said, my brother, look at this document. I was shocked, because I would not expect that document to come from the person. And the person told me, Bernard, we are finished. And so when I go through the document, and I've sent it to a number of people, and if you go to institutions, as some lady will say, you see that there's some quietude at our various public services. People don't talk. You go there and it is like everybody is keeping quiet. It is anger. People's silence should not mean that, hey, they are angry, but they will not talk. If you read that document and come and see that there's no shame, and they are going to create this development bank to come and actually seal, because they talked about how they were going to use the financial sector cleanup, so-called financial sector cleanup, to take control of the financial sector.
Space. I've read the document. Yeah.
And this was done before, and they have said how they executed it.
Even the
And then they talked about even the
Chief
Bank
even spoke about
of the
Chief
Bank of Ghana, how they are going to control it. And that they are going to appoint the governor, the deputy governor, they are going to employ the directors. All those things are stated in the document. And today, the second phase of the control which they talked about is that they must create their own financial banks to take over. And that data bank was doing well because it has now become the transaction advisor on many government projects. But that it was not enough. And that they have succeeded in doing the Ghana Consolidated Bank, and that they have put their own people there, and it will be difficult for anybody to come and remove them. So, when today, after I have gone through this document, which I will share with all of you, you read it and you see that what is being done about the development bank is a continuation of what was started under the Ajapadia document. Alhaji, I am very... In any case, what do you mean by development bank? You want to say that Ghana Commercial Bank is anti-development. you want to say that Agric Development Bank is anti-development. You want to say that the National Investment Bank is anti-development. No development can take place without investment. No development can take place without investment. Not so? And so those development that will take place through investment, there is already a bank dedicated for investment purposes. Whether investment in industry or whatever, National Investment Bank, if properly tooled, should be able to deliver on investment. Now, on Agric, which is the mainstay of our economy, Agric Development Bank has tended to become a commercial bank. Why? Because the government of Ghana has decided not to support the Agric Development Bank. So they are allowing Agric Development Bank to also compete like any. So Agric is not supporting the sector that is supposed to support. They rather prefer to give money for trading. And they'll tell you, look, if they give somebody come, Agric, you put your money there at the bank. And also, they have to run on people's investment or deposits at the bank. Now, you go and take somebody's deposit and go and support the farmer. And then you have to wait for 6 to 7 months for the farmer's yield to now get matured. That's if they will be yield, because we are surviving on rate-fed agriculture. So it makes it unlucrative for the bank to survive. And government is not pushing any support so that they will say that this is government support so we can give to the farmers. So that is there. And recall that there was a proclamation by the Minister for Finance that he was going to merge the Agric Development Bank and the National Investment Bank into what they describe as the National Development Bank. That did not hold because Agric Development Bank was able to raise itself above the threshold that they talked about, and therefore they allowed the banks to stay. Which country can develop without commerce? And so you have the Ghana Commercial Bank also dealing with the commercial aspect. Any government that wants to build robust systems will not be creating another bank. You will want to ensure the fortification of the existing banks so they can deliver on the mandate. Today, you are going to contract 170 billion to come and start a new bank. And that 1 billion is going to be injected in the economy. And as usual, it's going to further this Ajapadia property. Look, we are a country of waste, where individuals and their perfidy is leading to the hijack of our nation. State capture is what we are doing, and they are using the image and the name of Ghana to go out there to take money to come and create a new bank. I think that it is absurd. It is unacceptable the way we want to use tribedom to be able to manage the affairs of this country.
Right.
Kwame, I will share the document with you.
Share it to me.
Having said that,
Let's go to EC.
let me come to the Electoral Commission. And first, let me take a look at what the National Democratic Congress has said. I am in total opposition with the National Democratic Congress's position that the suggestion that polls should close at 3 p.m. is wrong. Leading to the 2016 elections, and I have been vociferous against the Electoral Commission through the many things that they wanted to do, including introducing the new voters register. As part of proposals we submitted to the Electoral Commission was that they should take a second look at the Parliament's rejection of moving the presidential and parliamentary elections to November. You know, we wanted the elections to take place in November so that there will be enough time for transition, particularly if you take into account what happened in the 2008 elections, where after the second run or the runoff, we still could not determine who won the elections and we had to go to time. Time took place on the 28th of December. And when we finished the elections on the 28th of December, you will say that final collations was done on the 29th. You had less than 9 days for a presidential transition, handing over and what have you. So we quickly had to rush through because on 7th January, a new president had to be sworn in. So we factored all these things and said, look, we should amend the voting time and that we could shift the presidential and the parliamentary to November because we did this in 1992. And so this is what was proposed. Unfortunately, Parliament rejected it. And I remember Chairman Owusu rejecting that call that we should not do it. We also proposed that at least the New Patriotic Party, through your conference or congress has demonstrated that they can start their elections and they bring all their people from the various polling stations to come and vote at the constituency center. And that they vote from 8 a.m. and by 2, 3, they are finished. And the numbers are big. So we said that, look, why can't we start our national elections at 6 a.m. so that by 3 p.m. we will finish? Because in most of the rural communities, there is darkness after sunset. So if you don't do your elections and conclude them on time, and we have to now go and be looking for lanterns and other things to come and count, hey, I will see that Sabo, somebody has printed on Sabo and I will count ABF Hussein.
That's true.
And so if we finish on time, we can conclude our counting before sunset. So that some of the difficulties, procuring generators and other things to be able to generate light, we will do away with it. We also propose that since elections determine everything, including Kwame, whether you should have Sakura or not. Oh yeah, because when you have to have Sakura, you pay the Baba money, and then there is indirect tax in it. That indirect tax is determined by the politician.
Or whether Honorable will drink cocoa in the morning.
Or whether Sabo will put on a
Thank God I'm wearing hat today.
I tell you.
So your Sakura is not seen.
Yeah.
So elections are so crucial that the day of the election should be made a national holiday so that people can be at rest, they can move and go and vote and still relax. So we can conclude this at 3 p.m. This should be done. This is a proposal that we submitted to the Electoral Commission. That the Electoral Commission is putting up these things today. And to suffer the stiff opposition of the NDC, I have an issue with that. I don't think that some of these things should be argued. My major problem with the Electoral Commission is that Electoral Commission say that they are organizing an elections review. Well, I mean, you are aware I contested the election. I put in my all so I can be voted into Parliament.
People are saying I should share their Japadia with them, so you have to send it to me. So
I will.
Can forward it to them.
You understand? I put in my all. I was rejected. I accept the outcome. My party participated in the elections. We were roundly rejected. So there are only 2 parties that are in Parliament. Which electoral reforms can take place to the exclusion of one of the major political parties. One of the 2. They are not 3. There are not 3 parties in Parliament. There are only 2. So you carry yourself and say you are going to do electoral reforms. And you carry parties that did not even contest the elections to say you are doing electoral reforms for those who are in Parliament. Who will come to that the decisions you are taking will even go to Parliament for ratification or otherwise. Not so. So how can the Electoral Commission be that pompous? Rather than sit down to find out what can we do so that the parties in Parliament first must acquiesce that there must be the decision to sit down. You are not doing that. So when you go and do this and you go to Parliament and there is a rejection of the proposals you have made, have we gone or we have come? The NDC in Parliament has about 137, with some still in contention, right? The NPP has 137. I was part of a meeting held by Otiko Jaban when she was Minister for Gender. And then they made wide...
There's no majority. It's a split. Oh, because of time.
Don't argue about that.
Because of time. But Bernard,
LPP has how many seats do you have?
Where do you sit? Honorable, still some time for us. I don't want us to waste.
But he's bringing this thing.
No. It's a simple question. Please, because of time, I beg.
Yeah, but your question.
Well, since my brother has decided that he should be enlightened this morning, I'll take the liberty to do so. Even when the Speaker of Parliament had to make the ruling in Parliament, he said that there is a majority group. He didn't say there is a majority party. Because there is no majority party. And that because there is an independent member and that the 2 parties had equal numbers, you can only have a majority group. And therefore, where the independent member decided to sit, they constitute the majority group. So if you are not well enlightened and informed, go and be enlightened on this
let's
matter.
go on.
I am not
so
the one
Captain already. Honorable, I really want us to have time to discuss the other.
Because of that one, all committees are shared equally.
Yeah.
If it doesn't matter,
Bernard, so but
all committees are shared equally.
even on the
So there's no
appointment
majority.
committee, on the appointment
I want to believe that Honorable, I want to believe that we want to have time to discuss the other.
But why are you
to
talk to this man?
But yeah, he's kept quiet.
Because his beard has overgrown, he thinks that it is enough to be interjecting people. You understand? So, Kwame, when you take this, so you ask yourself, is this an electoral commission that is willing to create a platform for those who must participate in this process that will lead to serenity? And I was talking about Otiko Jaba. Once you organize the conference at Alisa, the NPP as a governing party did not come. And we went there, we put in proposals, brilliant ideas. When everything was done, I raised my hand. And then Otiko said yes. And I said, Otiko, this thing that we are doing here, your own political party has declined to come and participate to share ideas. At the time, your party had 169 members of parliament. The NDC had 106. Now that your party has not come to participate in this, and we, those political parties with our representation in parliament, have come, and we say that we are endorsing this document, you think that the document will pass when you take it to parliament? I say, so next time when you are inviting us for programs like this, don't let us come and waste our time. At least bring those others that are major in this political equation so that we can also come and learn our ideas. Otherwise, I feel that we have wasted our time. So these 2 days that they went to Alisa Hotel to go and chop, they just chop our money free of charge. Because I don't see that, look, today the NDC is saying that they are opposed to the time, even as I am opposed to the NDC position. Because I think that it will enhance our democratic processes. It will even reduce some of the things that we have been complaining that, look, because the election runs into the night, sometimes the police will have to take the ballot boxes and go and keep, and the next day they will count. We will be able to avoid all those things. But I don't think that how the Electoral Commission want to go about these processes, they will succeed. Kwame, now the Electoral Commission is talking about they saved us money. It is only witches that talk that way. Seriously, if you didn't do a new voters register, we will not have incurred any cost. We will not have incurred cost of going through COVID protocols and COVID expenses in order to embark on a new voters register. We warned you that the new voters register was not the panacea to the problems that we were talking about. You were talking about people who would be in the voters register because their names are there and they are dead. Alaji, the day that people registered under the new biometric register, people died. Their names are on the voters register. Will we change it? People are still dying as of now. In fact, the PNC driver, Dr. Mahama's driver, died just last week. You understand? Died just last week. Are you going to change the voters register because it's overbloated by the number of people who are dead? So it means that we have to be changing the voters register. We warned you, said you will not listen. At the end of the day, those things took place. We are not talking about the cost. In any case, if we are talking about cost, what I have said time without number is that, look, from Afarijan to Charlotte Osei, the Electoral Commission has always been responsible for the training of party and candidate agents so that they can have uniformity of what is expected of them when they have to sit as agents to ensure the integrity of our elections. In this year's election, Alaji, did the Electoral Commission sponsor the training of your agents? You, the candidate or the political party, had to train your own agents. So the Electoral Commission shifted the cost. You shifted the cost that the Electoral Commission will bear. And then you transferred it to the party or the candidates. And then you come and tell me that you have reduced cost. How can shifting of cost tend to be a reduction of cost? And you are telling us that you reduced it from $13 per person to $7. If we add the training of our agents and other things that you offloaded to the individuals and the candidates, the political parties, it will come that probably we even spend more. But that you, the Electoral Commission, decided to stay away. So obviously, the integrity of our elections is not because of the cost reduction. But the many things that have gone in there, that has made it too vulgar, that for the first time, we saw police, we saw armed persons shooting at our polling stations. The Electoral Commission denied that there was no violence in the elections. Not so. Today, the Electoral Commission is saying that those violence, they are not responsible for security. It is only a witch that is not stable in your thoughts. And I have insisted that if this is the way Jean Mensa wants to conduct herself, then she's not willing to be a fair arbiter in the running of the Electoral Commission. And that is why I think that all of us owe it a duty. We should help the Electoral Commission to come out of the pit that they find themselves.
Right.
But the Electoral Commission itself must be ready that they will stretch off their hand so that we can pull them out of the ditch that they are.
Thank you very kindly, Bernard Mona. You are still watching the newspaper review segment. Today is going to be an extended version because Sabo has not spoken. Honorable Ibuseni has not spoken. So I'm coming to you, Sabo, to speak to those two
you
issues.
sent it
that
to
we've
yourself?
raised. Yes, I've sent it to myself because people are really asking me for the Jeopardy. I'm going to put it on my Facebook page so you can download it from there. Sabo, in fact, I haven't sent it.
I'm
Sabo,
not sending it.
Let's go. The two topics. Yes.
For the two topics, before I even move the what do you call it? The first one, let me just make this clarification. You see, what do you call it? The balance of trade that my brother was talking about, Bernard Mona. He will agree with me that with regards to our balance of trade, we have always been in a deficit for so many years. Quite apart from that, we also agree that Ghana is an important country. Almost 80% of our consumables are imported to this country. So definitely, one COVID-19 setting economically, we are actually going to suffer more because borders were closed. And things that we survive on will not get to us again. So if we do not have a huge reserve, definitely it will have reflected in our living during that hard times. Quite apart from that, when he was talking of the positive balance of trade that we had, it was a double-edged sword because it's true. In fact, what he said perfectly, because once we are not importing, our foreign exchange what do you call it, balance will appreciate because we are not spending the dollars. I have to get to me, and it will go a long way to strengthen the local currency. Because the local currency will now find footing to be stable and other things. But also don't forget, if the managers of the economy also did not actually put other factors in place, then the larger population will have suffered as a result of shortages in the system. But this did not happen in this country. And I don't think we are magicians. It means that it takes competent people to be able to go around this kind of difficulties to bring us this far. Kwame, let me start this with the NDC before I come to that. You said it's two topics, and which one? Yes. So I think yes. So with let me just continue with what I've just started with the economy, the boost of the economy of the rest. Kwame, you also agree with me that the development bank that we are talking about. In fact, to be frank with you, I wouldn't sit here and lie. I'm here to lay my hand on the documents to understand the distance very well. But I disagree with Baramona if you say that such a bank should not be created. Day in, day out, banks keep on springing up. Quite apart from that, it is said development bank. And I don't think we've ever had any bank in this country called development bank. Oh yes. At least for a number of years. Fortunately for me, I've never lived in any other country apart from Ghana, whereby I would say that during my stay outside, there was a bank like that. But we have a Greek.
I'm telling you,
we have a Greek development bank, and I agree with him. A Greek development bank was actually created in the 80s. It was 70s rather. But I think in the 80s that it gained strength. So frank with you, yes. But I wouldn't dispute what you are saying. Yes, Agri Development Bank. In fact, because we started hearing of Agri Development Bank during Rawley's regime, when they were giving the this and they were even like you, and I agree with him. Even in the 80s, they were actually loaning out cars to commercial GPR2 and drivers and the rest, instead of the farmers and other distance. But nonetheless, up to date, I side with Benamona when it comes to this issue. Like Agri Development Bank don't even help farmers these days. The purpose for which it was established, they don't leave that purpose. And Kwame, and I believe that is the reason why me and you have not found our way onto the farms. Because some of us have the distance in us to farm. But the startup capital has always been the problem. And I believe it was because of this reason why the bank was created. But you also agree with them. When you come to financial prudent management, you also agree with them that, like you were saying, our agricultural up to date is by the grace of God farming that we do. That's a rain-fed agricultural distance. We have not yet gone irrigated. And for that matter, anytime the weather fails, it means that the agric is in bad business. And of course, for that one, everybody will know. So you cannot actually take up that farmer. Because it's a natural cause. And it wasn't part of the agreement that even when this thing happened, this is what was going to happen and other things. So definitely, they also have that fear as to how they will go into this. So I believe this one, if you have said that as a nation, we should revisit the purpose of Agri Development Bank and see how best we can fine-tune it to suit the modern agricultural, system. I believe that would have been the best way to go, but not just to put the blame on the government. And if there's any blame to be apportioned, then we apportion on the NDs because they actually gave birth to this kind of Agri Development Bank shifting away from its main purpose to other areas. They started veering off in the 80s. Yes. Then last, before I come to this thing, Kwame, you also agree with me that what actually also cushioned us as a nation during the...
Actually, it was founded in 1965.
65 even, just imagine. You see, which means somewhere along the line it went to sleep. And it came back in the 80s. It was in the 80s that people started hearing of agriculture. In fact, some of us thought that it was established that time. Kwame, you also agree with me that planting for food, because I was hearing something like agricultural production was also under this. In fact, planting for food helped us a lot during the COVID period. Because if many of the youth had not gone into this particular area and produce these foodstuff locally, you can imagine as an important economy what would have happened to us during the COVID period. And you agree with me, most of the foods that were distributed during that time are locally produced food. Most of them were not imported food. So in that particular area too, credit should have been given to the government. Kwame, let me leave that one like that and then come to the EC this thing. Kwame, I don't know whether you've ever come across this book, Roots, written by Alex Hale. Roots. And then the main character in that book is called Kintakunte. Kintakunte. Thank you. If you read that book, if you go deeper, when Kintakunte was taken from Gambia and was being shipped to America, he met one elderly man in the ship, Kofi from Ghana, who was a drummer. And Kintakunte was like a very strong person, very stubborn. So when they were planning how to maybe revolt against the masters in the ship, Kintakunte went on hunger strike. And Kofi came to him and said, "My son, let me tell you, but you want to fight these people?" He said, "Yes." "And what are you going to use to fight them? It's not strength. And if you continue not to eat, where will you get the strength from? Eat and get the strength. So when it is time, you can actually do what you are planning to do."
Absolutely.
And I took a very big lesson from that particular lesson. NDC, you perceive EC to be your enemy, and you want to fight the EC to make sure that what you think should be done must be done. And you've had an opportunity for the EC to invite you to a place that you can actually strike, and you've decided not to go and still want to win the battle. How are you going to do it? Kwame, it was in this country during the 2012 election petition that we were told publicly that the what do you call it, the IPAC is just an advisory body to EC.
Yes.
Is that not it?
That is so.
Yes. But the EC can still go ahead and do certain things without what they're consulting this body, or even put aside whatever the body will tell them and do what they deem right for the country. And today, an issue of how we should sanitize, or better still, let me put it, how do I even say, modernize our electoral process. And you are invited to bring your decision, because as we speak today, I'm yet to hear the PNC officially come out to talk much about the 2020 elections and their view going forward, and other parties. But the NDC up to date are still talking about the 2020 elections and how things went bad. And they say, okay, this is an opportunity. Come and let's see how best we can do the next time so that things will be better. And he said, we will not come. But whether you like it or not, do what we are saying. Kwame, tell me, are you actually being fair to your people? And the very person who organized that press conference and was saying all this is up to date is not able to produce the collateral resource of the NDC in the 2020 elections. Up to date as we speak. A typical example is the Techima resource, which is still in court. Oh, yes. When you no, I'm not talking about. I said typical. Oh, but yes, the Techima is supposed to produce the results. The Techima South results. Yes, you should bring the results to. If you produce, I also produce another one. No, you produce 3 results as a party. Which results? 3 results. Techima South results. Which results? The candidate came and produced his own results. It's not. Semi Jemfi came to produce his own. There's only one result. Yeah, the NDC has the advantage of. We discussed this in here.
When I interviewed,
it's not true. What you're saying is false.
Consistent with.
Yes, very consistent.
Declarations that was made. So
what I'm saying is that you are in the media, and it was in the public domain, and it is still on the various platforms. We have one result. The NDC held a press conference and produced a result. The candidate held a press conference, produced different counter results. Sami Jemfi had a press conference, produced another result.
What you said is news to me, though. But
we have more serious. You know me, our one never lie. Go and check a program where the 200 I sat here and discussed this issue here. Was paraded and the NDC produced that result.
I interviewed them.
Please don't go there. Okay, Kwame. What is the collateral results of the NDC in the 2020 election? In court, were they not? Which court? Was the court matter a subject matter for NDC to go and produce his pink sheet in court? Or why did you take the case? Was the NDC producing that and you took your case? It defies any sense.
That was in respect.
The petition, the NDC results was not the subject matter. No.
Let's proceed.
We went there, our political results, and we produced it in court. Kwame, having said that, you see, the NDC, I don't know what they are up to. But if I had an opportunity, I will advise the NDC, like Kofi advised Kinta Kunte.
Yes. He read a book last night.
No. In fact, I read this book, if I'm not mistaken, over 16 years.
Sabo, we will take your advice with a ton of salt, not a pitch.
If we allow him speak so that you can also get your time.
Okay. I agree with
I've
you.
already spent 30 minutes out of the...
So that they will get the opportunity to air their views. So that if EC decide not to take whatever they said, they will now have the opportunity to come to us and say, we went to the meeting, we told them to do this and this and this and this. They refused. Then that time your story will be good to tell. But you've not been there, and you still sit down and say that you've suggested something they are not taking. Is it through the window, or where are they going to take it?
Anyway, conclude for me.
Kwame, let me, okay. You say I
beg you. I think you've spent 30 minutes.
Let me tell you, that I disagree with the people who normally say that on election day there should be holiday. In fact, initially I was part of those who were also calling for that. But upon a critical analysis of our voting pattern over the years, I realized that it is rather wrong if we should make it a holiday. In fact, when I was a teacher, when I was in the classroom, I always thought of it should be holiday so I can also be in the house and then go and vote. But going deeper into politics, I realized that no, I was being selfish. And I did not think of the larger society. Kwame, you agree with me. In fact, MPP, Ablekuma Central, we suffered in Ablekuma Central because of the holiday on the 2020 election day. You agree with me about the Abosokan people. Almost 98% of them do not reside in Ablekuma Central. But when it is time for registration, they all register in Ablekuma Central because that is where they work. That is around that time that the voting will come and the rest. So they will go and vote and come back. So during the election, most of them were back home. Some of them even traveled to their villages and the rest. So they could not turn up to vote. Makwala is another typical
They were
example.
angry, not that they didn't.
Many people
Made their lives bizarre.
I beg you, let me make my point. Makwala too, the same thing. In fact, you agree with me, Kwame, that today it has become this and that even it will be convenient enough for you to register here because you are most often during the day found here than at your residence.
That's true.
So it will be more convenient for you to vote and still do your work as we want it than to register at where you live. So the holiday concept, in fact, I don't think it will help us as a nation. Yes. Quite apart from that, the issue of the NDC saying that the 3 o'clock proposal is wrong, it's out of place. Here too, they are being selfish and have also, excuse me to say, a bit myopic in their thinking. In the sense that I have lived in deep, in fact, I've lived in a cottage before even, where just one house, the rest is forest. I have lived in those areas before. And Kwame, if you go to the villages and you observe, like my brother Benamona was saying, in fact, especially in the typical forest area and the rest, around 5 p.m., the place is already dark. The place is only whistling of birds and this and that will be hearing.
Right.
I hope you are getting me. So, and if the person is going to vote, in fact, the villages are mostly like closer, and then they find like the converging point where normally, like when they are traveling, where they take their buses or whatever, as a polling station, because that is where every villager normally comes. If the person is going to travel, they will trek from their places and then come to that particular village and then take car and then travel as a voting, which is most often is a walking distance, and most often most village dwellers have bicycles that they normally use to travel to those places. I don't know why you are getting me.
Yeah.
And when you come back to the city, it's rather even the city that is a bit dangerous. Because in the city, like I was just saying, for instance, most often than not, if I'm not in school and I'm always in Nima. But look at where I stay. I stay at Valley View, that's around OEB. But always I'm in Nima. And up to date, as I speak, I still vote in Nima. Because most often than not, I'm in Nima.
And you want to be MP for Sanargo.
Don't forget I'm a subject of Sanargo.
Honorary resident.
But you stay in Accra.
But you must have your vote there.
No, by birth. I'm there.
Have your vote.
No, yes. But when it's time, I'll transfer my vote there.
Respectfully,
Yes.
for me.
So Kwame,
Yeah.
I think the issue of that when people would travel a long distance to go to the voting center, so by the time they get to the voting center, it is a bit late. So what time will they finish counting? Like what Bramana was saying. These villages, they don't have lights. And some villages, Kwame, you'll be surprised to hear that there's somebody in Ghana here, up to date. He has never owned his own 300 Ghana cedis.
Yeah. True.
Just 300 like in his hand like this. He has never had it before. So such a person, if he tells you that for about a month he has never had kerosene to lighten his lamp, you may think he's joking. So in such places, when darkness falls, tell me what is going to happen. And look at what even happened some time ago in Owusu Central. You remember when there was a problem, they had to take this into the police station. The following day, NDC is saying this, MPP is saying that the police have tampered with the ballot this thing. Meanwhile, there was CELO that even agents, all of them had the numbers. So,
yeah.
But they were still that they tampered with those things. So in order to cut all these things short, they are saying that the voting will commence earlier. And quite apart from that, we are now in the technological era. You don't even know what is even up their sleeves. Whether it is going to be the normal system that we're doing, or there's going to be an additional decision that is going to improve the system to even speed up the voting process. Because we saw splitting of polling stations that, made it much easier for the people there to vote earlier. Like there were some polling stations up to in the past, up to 5:30. One is this 5, up to 6, 7. They are still in the queue voting. How they are getting me? But when they splitted them, around 2 o'clock, around 1 something, they finished voting.
All right.
So I believe maybe they are going to spend most of these polling stations to make it easier for people to just come and vote.
Oh no, Sabu has taken 45 minutes.
No, not 45.
45 minutes.
No.
How many minutes?
20.
You even thought of 30 minutes.
No, Bernard finished. That was.
But you said 30 minutes.
No.
You said
I just said he would finish.
Oh, Kwame.
Bernard finished at 10.
Kwame.
Bernard finished, I think, 10:15.
Kwame.
And then Sabu finished 10:35. So
I have 45 minutes.
you can't finish in 45 minutes.
Kwame,
you will probably get 10 minutes.
I will want you to read something.
Hey, enough was getting about. Tell you, Sabu, give it to me.
Here. No, I want to show you currently. It's from your Ejapadia or this.
Ejapadia, which one is that? Currently with.
But I'm coming. I want to read somewhere.
No, let me just read it so that when you read somewhere, you get something.
Okay.
So currently,
it's from the document that you gave to me.
yes, that Benafona gave to you.
So where's the document? You have to read the document.
Yeah, this is Ejapadia, and this is page. Okay, there's no page here, but let me just read a little bit of it. Currently, with Nana in total control of the whole entity of Ghana, we have a duty to ensure that we take over the commanding height of the essential fabric of the country, in order that even in the event that Nana leaves the scene after the mandatory 8 years, the sons and daughters of our chairman would be firmly secured and such control, both financially and economically, that we can no longer be ignored in the battle to control the destiny of Ghana. To achieve, we need to appropriate the fundamental economic and financial levers, which would guarantee such control in years to come. In doing this, we need to be strategic. We would have to work with other people from some of the diverse ethnic groups, including some carefully selected people in Asante and other diverse ethnicities or lands. This would make them believe that they also have a hand in the pie. It would obscure any suspicion that the project is essentially an Oforipenin project. This point is crucial because the electoral policies, we have to have our eyes on the numbers in the electoral process. We cannot be blatant until we are completely secure in the endeavor. It is especially so because so far the Asantes constitute the single most populous ethnic group in the country.
Okay.
All right, and it's signed by Uforiata. Yes, and this is page 2 actually of the Ejapadia book. Please, can you hand it over to Honorable?
Kwame, yeah, thank you. I honestly say I haven't seen this document.
Read it. Kwame, I sent it to you.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. I was just seeing it. It was when you gave it to me, I was reading and I came across it, and it's frightening. I don't think this in the building of a nation
state. You take your
state.
time when you go home.
Yeah, seriously. You see, because Kwame, I've been trying to make sense of a number of things. First, let me just debunk Sabo's thing about the electoral this thing of our pink sheets and others was not the subject matter for the court.
Yeah.
Kwame, we went to court with a petition that the electoral commission was involved in a egregious violation of the constitution of this republic. And that is, we quoted the relevant article of the constitution, Kwame, which indicated that for somebody to be declared elected, he must get 50% plus 1. And we indicated that Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, candidate of the NPP, did not get 50% plus 1. That was the matter before the court, which the court refused to look at. Court. So, Kwame, we did not get the justice that we were looking for.
Okay.
It was not our pink sheets and others. That why has the constitution given the right to the NDC to declare its own results? Otherwise, President Mama would have been present today. So it's the conduct of the electoral commission, the brazen, fraudulent manner in which the electoral commission conducted the election and declared the results. And I'll come to the electoral commission, Kwame. But Kwame, I made you read this because Kwame, it's very frightening. We don't build a nation state on the back of ethnic sentiments and others. It's not acceptable anywhere. And I think that it's the nation state as a group of all of us that contributes to make the state a very viable state. And coming back from Osajifu, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, Kwame, you've seen ethnic tensions across the length and breadth of West Africa. Have you seen it in Ghana? And because of Ghana, the way we were blended together to make sure that we are all one part, we are one people, one nation, one destiny. We all have an intrinsic, intertwined destiny together. So when things like this begin to come, Kwame, we should be very, very careful. And especially, I've been trying to make sense until this. I read this one. Until this document that I've been sent, and I said, so is that why this issue of state capture? Kwame, and you remember the NDC, Kwame, the NDC, we had a press conference at which we highlighted this issue of state capture. You remember? So it's now that these things are falling in pieces that a clearer understanding is coming regarding things like the closure of the banks. Because Kwame, if you look at the closure, it doesn't make sense. The likes of Kwame Dufo, Amwabing, all those other people who were even at one point on that recognized for excellence. And on the back of just raising the level of what do you call them? The 400 million that the banks were supposed to pay. Even when the government itself was owing those banks. The minimum capital requirement as a pretext for closing these banks. Kwame, so you are not seeing it. Where banks capitalization, Kwame, they needed just 9 billion. Alive. They recapitalized 9 billion. The government used 22 billion to close banks.
21 or 20.
22 billion was even updated. So let me fall back to your conservative rate. 21.
Yes.
21 billion. Kwame. If somebody needs, the banking system needs 9 billion, and you use 21 billion to shut them down.
And go and borrow 170 million.
Kwame, to come and start another bank. Have you seen the kind of reasoning that we have? What kind of world reasoning is this? Unless it is led by an egocentric, selfish interest. How will you operate like this? Does it make sense? Kwame, so you see, this is how the people of Ghana must open their eyes and look at what is happening clearly. And so for me, Kwame, I think that all of us as a people must wake up to how the resources of this country. Kwame, marry that one in addition to Ejapa. You remember the Ejapa deal? So this one again is also the control of the mineral wealth of the country. Have you seen where Ejapa 2 is coming in? So if you put the pieces together, you begin to see where they are falling in. That hegemony that is being attempted. They say even long after Nana is gone, something will happen.
Yep.
Is that not the case?
That is so.
Kwame, that is a very serious statement that must be looked at. Kwame, but I'm looking at this thing and I say that we should shun all ethnic politics. I don't want us to, because those are the things that destroy countries. It is important for us to function as a monolithic Ghanaian group, that all of us are Ghanaians, irrespective of whatever part of the country you come from. We are one and the same people, and that we must all gel together to build this country into the prosperous nation that we all want it to be. That is the way forward. Kwame, as for this current electoral commission, Kwame, I've heard Sabo say that why did the NDC boycott the team when you should go there, would have gone there to make the point and others. Kwame, ideally, I've said it, you see, when you see the bandicoot out of his hole in the daytime, something has disturbed it in the hole. Why? Sabo, when we know those who were even attending, NDC used to attend IPAC meetings earlier than even all the other political parties. Comrade Benamona is here. He used to attend, ask him that the IPAC meetings he knows they used to attend in the past. Is that the same IPAC meetings today? Today, IPAC is a useless body. In fact, the Jin Mensa has made IPAC a laughing stock. Today, IPAC is no longer a deliberative body. It is Kaka Motobi. It is just Kotoboku. Fancy people have a way of describing it to look useless. You just Kotobonku. Yes, what? How do you call it? Kotobonku. Kotobonku. No. What done Kotobonku? I hope my friends. You should quote me more. Yeah, what done Kotobonku? What done Kotobonku? Probably. Apple just go and sit down, and the Mesa and Bosman will come and read this to them. We are going to do ABCD. Those who want it, raise your hands. Those who are against, raise your hands. Finish. IPAC, God of mercy. IPAC. Is this an IPAC meeting you should attend? That you attend there and they say because you are also there, you have your right to oppose because that's the decision that was taken by the majority. And which are the political parties? LPG. Look at, Kwame, recently, there was a statement, I read something, that even some of the parties, they are just surrogates of the MPP. They go and they give them contracts. And some of them, they go and sell the contracts to the Ashanti regional chairman of the party. What? Wuntumi himself said it on his listing, that he bought even 2 contracts from 2 of the party leaders who went and they gave them contract. And that they are just... oh yes! I am telling you, this one is in the public domain. I'm not the one who said it. They're just mere appendages.
He said he bought road contracts from
Odike
and then Akbalu.
So you know he said that even
10%.
Even his own party does not give him contracts.
And then he went and bought the things from these so-called parties they are talking about. They just line them up so that when MPP, there's a matter, the MPP they go to support the MPP and they claim that it's a decent. This is not Kotobonku, is what? This is the kind of IPAC you have today. Parties cannot show even representation. They have no offices in any district. They can't show any representation. They just line up the numbers. So they are just surrogate empty parties. They are empty shell. And then you go there, you can go investigate. I'm for that investigation. Anybody who doesn't meet the criteria, start them off. These are not political parties.
Let me remind people that
they're just a bunch of individuals parasiting on parties.
The people who are asking for the Japadia book, just leave your email addresses underneath the Facebook post. I will send them to you.
So, Kwame, let me say without any iota of hesitation that the G-Mensa has made the IPAC a useless entity.
Rather than Kotobonku.
No. It is Abba use now. A summit.
That's done.
Abba use.
Abba Fasuna Wado.
Fasuna Wado.
Inyo.
I'll learn more from you. So it doesn't make sense. And they have done it for a deliberate purpose. Because Kwame, I said from the very beginning, the G-Mensa were brought to do a dirty job for the MPP. Full stop. They are not interested, this current crop of leadership of the Electoral Commission are not interested in enhancing our democratic credentials. They are not here to further our democratic process. They are here for their greedy, selfish, egocentric interests. And that is the reason. Kwame, how will an electoral commission look at this horrible election day? This is the worst election in the Fourth Republic. The worst election ever under the aegis of the Fourth Republic. They come and say that this was the best election they have conducted. Best election, God of mercy. May Allah Almighty have mercy on their souls. Kwame, how can you have this system? You conduct election. Show me, Sabo, in which of these elections, general elections, have you conducted that you have that level of violence that we had with this one.
Which of the police stations?
There was no violence. 8 people died.
No, which police station?
So if there was no violence, 8 people died.
No, which police station?
I think what
You don't know the number of police stations across the country.
Police station.
You didn't hear police stations in
police stations in Orodo.
There was no any polling station that recorded election violence. It was not at the collation center.
No. There were police stations where there was violence.
Yes, there were many police stations. One police
there were a number of
collation centers.
Look, let me even tell you
that.
Look, from the time of registration,
You created it.
Kwame, from the time of I'm sure you heard that they even went and brought the military. The fishermen in Banda.
Yeah.
Banda, you remember?
Yep.
Our general secretary had to go to Banda with the party executive to go and clear the way for the people there to be able to go and register. Even from registration, they stop people from registering. On the day of voting, they unleash violence. And Kwame, today, thanks to DCOP Opare Ado. Even when they have signed the vigilante law, the data forces are still operating.
Where?
Emma has said it. I mean, I'm the one. He was working. He was even the Assembly General Coordinator. MPP who appointed him.
Who?
DCOP of Oparado.
What he said. So now, no.
Why?
No,
is he an NDC man? Who said he is ready to say he's an NDC man? Some let me make my point. When we were talking, I kept quiet.
Let me make his point because of time.
When we were talking, I kept quiet.
He has just some
So, Kwame,
few minutes.
you can see clearly that in this violence-ridden election, where unprecedented in the annals of our history, 8 people lost their lives. The later commission comes and tells us that this was the best election ever. Incredible, amazing. From this crass, incompetent, and so Kwame, me, I'm saying it, and Benamona here, I've been calling for a grand opposition alliance of progressive forces. Kwame, grand alliance.
Okay.
Kwame, until this bunch of people are uprooted from the electoral commission, Kwame, because they are there to do a very dirty job, to compromise the integrity of our elections. Kwame, they should not be there to compromise the elections. And I've been saying this in politics. Kwame, if somebody thinks he can do something and get away with it in politics, they will do it. The only answer is for the NDC and the other opposition to stand up. Kwame, when they were talking about this going to court, I said, look, this going to court, very little will come out of it. Massa, until somebody sees that, look, all of us have a collective responsibility in making this country peaceful and orderly. And so we have to anchor it on the rule of law and make the democratic tenets work. But if somebody thinks that you can compromise democracy and get away because you can take away the mandate of the people and nothing happens, Kwame, they will do it. If they think that they can do it and go scot-free and nothing happens, it will happen.
Okay.
But unless people get up and stand up and make sure that our democratic rights are there, will never be taken, and we will not stand for it.
No, but we gotta go now.
Kwame, I beg you. Kwame, I'm just
5 minutes. 5 more minutes.
Doing this. So Kwame, it is important that this.
No, yeah.
How long is the program? No problem. When you are somebody doesn't like you and you are seeing me, say you are generating dust. So what else do you expect someone to say? You say I spent 2 hours. He has even been great, so I thought you said 3 hours. So Kwame, so that for me is the core of the matter. That you don't simply allow the same core of people who messed up this election to continue to come. Because like our people will say at the press conference, that they will not allow the same thing to happen. Kwame, our supporters and other them and the Ghanaians as whole are looking up to us to do something different. Not the same process. If you go through the same process again, you are what Osajifu Dr. Kwame Nkrumah called timid presence for small gains. You will not make progress. You will not. Until you stand up and do the right and proper thing to protect the mandate of the people. People go and vote for you and they take it away and you go like that.
Can you instruct that the show should come to an end?
No, finish right now.
So Kwame, it is very, very important that is that. Kwame, you go to say you are doing electoral reforms. And a party that has the same measure, like we pointed out, today the MPP is not a majority party. They don't.
In fact, that one even escaped me. I wanted to let you
There's no majority party in Parliament.
Majority party.
Kwame, MPP has 137 seats. NDC has 137 seats. That's why, Mr. Speaker, designated MPP said that it's a majority group.
They are going to drop. They are even about to drop to 36.
That is why. Kwame,
We have not yet dropped.
that's why, Kwame, in the same listen, all committees are shared equally in Parliament. between the NDC and NPP. So if you are talking about representative today, it is only NDC and NPP. You will take one party, go and sit in I say you are making reforms, and the other party is not part of it, and you think that those reforms you can do them and get away. That's why I'm saying that the NDC and other programs must rise up, must get up and make sure that things are done properly. Because if they get away, they simply go and get away with this one-sided reforms they want to go and do on their own to further their own interests. Kwame, it will compromise our democracy. And let me say it, Kwame, if this has to be brought to law, and let some will take note, if it is going to be brought to law and going to be brought to Parliament, the NDC is in control of the subsidiary legislation committee. It is our person who chairs the subsidiary legislation committee of Parliament, where those changes are going to be made.
Where do you sit?
And we are not part of that reforms. So if you bring the law to Parliament, who is going to pass it?
Where do you sit in Parliament?
Who is going to pass it?
Which side do you sit in Parliament?
Oh,
but I don't know why you are avoiding this question.
Okay,
which side does he sit in Parliament? Is it on the majority side or minority side?
which one?
No, he sits on the minority group side.
Let me say this.
He sits on the minority group side.
We gotta go.
Kwame is very, very important because we are talking about the destiny of this nation and the lives of people.
Absolutely, yes.
Where even admission of even egregious infractions of the electoral commission. Kwame, we are all here. When Jinesa on the 9th of December came and made a pronouncement of wrong figures, gave Nana Akufo-Addo wrong figures, wrongfully declared him as president-elect, and the next day what happened? They had to go back again and change the figure. Under what law did they change the figures?
Did they change anything?
Okay.
You see? And we all know that when those calculations were done, the figure was not 50.1%. It was 49%.
In conclusion.
Okay. So Kwame, that's what I'm saying.
All right.
I mean, we have indicated that we didn't get justice in court. It's clear.
In conclusion.
So that's what I'm saying that, Kwame, the thing that we need to do, and like all of us have said, we should make sure that we at the police station, these things are done and done properly.
Okay.
And that is why I'm calling for a new strategy, a new orientation, a new thinking, not just for the NDC. And that's why I said the grand coalition of NDC and other opposition parties.
Thank you very much.
To fight to preserve the democracy of this country. If we don't preserve the democracy of this country in 2034, our democracy will go down.
Thank you very much, Honorable Ebi. Well, let me put out Bernard Bonner's number. I'm sure Bernard has elected to send the Dapadia book to all of you. So please, just save Bernard Bonner's number, but you have to send him a message first, asking him to send you the book, and he will do exactly that. Bernard, we thank you for granting us that opportunity. 0244 74 9056 0244 74 9056. That's Bernard Mona's number. Send him a message asking for the book, and he will forward it to you.
Well, even though there are outstanding issues, you read something small from the national security.
Yeah.
I think that is a very commendable step from Kadapa.
Yeah, Kadapa.
But
Kadapa is a smart guy. He's sometimes your best friend. Best friend.
Me, my
best friend.
The man who made them to put me in a bucket of a pickup like I'm a cow.
See, so Kwame, if certain, because what was done to the journalists is horrible. And we must not
what has happened to the report
Thank
of
you.
You know why? Because City FM owner was made the chief executive of the central development, and you know his affinity to the MPP. That is why they have to come out with this one. What has happened to the modern Ghana report? What has happened to Adesi? What has happened to Anas Abeya? What has happened to Umaru? Because are they the only people? Because is Kalib the only person that has been attacked? Please, don't praise the man when you know that.
Stop them before I come in.
Thank you. 0244. People are still asking.
No, Bernard, if something good has been done, let's say it. And we are saying that good must be extended to all the other matters. That is the point that I'm making.
Bernard Bonner's number is.
And by no means hitting any place on anybody.
056.
I'm saying that if it's good, fine. But we must do that to all other.
056 0244 749 056. That's Bernard Bonner's number. Those of you are asking, I think I've done that. Thank you, Honorable Ebi, for your time. Thank you, Sabo. Thank you, Bernard Bonner.
I'm the one.
I'll see you guys.
I'm the one who gave the list.
It's not true.
I'm not all of them. I'm telling you,
But it should be. I have been at IPAC, so I was expected to speak more. You have not been to IPAC.
I agree with you. That one.
But you can debate Sabo.
But tomorrow, IPAC, you're talking about.
Why are you going to Okay. Bernard Monest number 0244
Just go there.
Tomorrow is Alaji and Alaji. It's going to be very exciting. I'm sure you're definitely going to like it. Tomorrow, my brother Senanombo will be hosting it as usual, and make sure you join him in the morning. I think from 9 a.m. to 12. It's going to be very, very, very educative. My name is Kwame Owusu, so see you guys on Monday. You have a pleasant weekend. Bye-bye.
Every day he looks after his brother and chases a bus. Every day he looks after his brother, chases a bus, and learns new things. Every day he looks after his brother, chases a bus, learns new things, and gets back home. Every day he looks after his brother, chases a bus, learns new things, gets back home, and helps his mom. Phew. That's why every day he needs his cup of Milo filled with the nutritious goodness of malt, milk, and cocoa. Milo, the energy to go further.
From Nestle.
This advert is FDA approved.
Hello? Okay, why? My wife comes and send a message you. Hello? What's happened?
It's a child who will be a quiet say what? A dear sir.
Besides, friend, I'm so here. You have not testing messages here. And our office also. I'm trying to tell you, man. She says, I
mean, so we a guy man, and may young who could look cry. And also wants a family drilling company limited for Kana.
What's the name? Family Drilling Company Limited.
Ye two borehole, biofuel, biogas, swimming pool, plumbing works in Danso. Ye be Frey 0240 333 111 and now says 0244 144 822.
Miampa and you want swimming pool on me fee. Me want to will be BA. Family drilling now. Family drilling.
What fashion is your last?
Me out with that.